and now it's kind of like, okay, let's readapt.
Exactly.
Okay.
And Doyle has done a phenomenal job of readapting. If you look at Doyle now, if you watch his play now, it's tighter than ever. He's reverted back to a style of play that was played a long, long time ago when he was playing against real loosey-goosey players that didn't know that, a straight beats three of a kind.
Right.
So you kind of have to wait them out. Today...
So straight does beat three of a kind. I mean, I got to tell you, that would really improve my game. Yeah. Jeez, I got to know that stuff. Okay.
And, today, with so many players playing suited connectors, like we said, and basically playing pots in position for value, I mean, the player today is much more sophisticated.
Yeah,
it's much
clearly
better. Is oftentimes college educated, very successful in other areas of their life, and they come in, they make the transition to poker because there's such huge money and exposure and opportunity to be treated like a rock star. They come into poker with the goods, if you will. So with that style of play, they're able to quickly adapt and quickly come in and be competitive. So what are we going to do to adjust to that? I know that I can't get away with a lot of stealing, so I need to tighten up my game. But there has to be something to go along with that. I can't just play this ultra-tight game either. And that other stuff that goes along with that is what the premise of the book is.
Right, okay. I mean, I talked to a lot of the players, and I was going to ask you as well. Obviously, a lot of the players like to, especially in a tournament, and you primarily play tournaments, right?
I play a lot of cash games online.
Online, okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say, like, a lot of the players like to adapt their game in the sense that if the game is playing tight, you're going to play looser.
Right.
If the game is playing real loose, you're going to play tighter and tighten up.
Right.
Now, what do you do in terms of your image? Now, obviously, when you sit down at a table, everybody knows who you are. Two-time World Series of Poker bracelet winner, mark safe. You're aggressive. You're reckless. Right. You're fearless. What do you do when they're gunning for you? At the same time, I mean, they probably think you're bluffing them more often than not. I mean, are you sitting there really peddling nuts now?
Well, a little bit of that does happen now. You really do have to adjust your game and sort of narrow your range of starting hands. I don't get to see flops as cheaply as I used to. I don't get to float in position as much as I'd like to. I get re-raised a lot because that's the book on me. Re-raise him a lot. Don't let him see a lot of flops because he comes in with hands that can make big hands and snap you off. So the book on me is...
Like you put a little raise in there with 6-8 of diamonds.
Exactly.
And that used to work really well. Well, now somebody's repopping it with ace-jack, and it really puts you in a tough spot because you don't want to commit. Now, obviously, in a cash game, if you're real deep, it's not a big deal because you can take a flop anyway.
Exactly.
But in a tournament, you don't want to start putting 10, 15, 20% of your stack in there with a hand that's kind of a speculative hand like 6-8 of diamonds.
That's right, and that's what I used to love to do. I used to love to enter pots in position, multi-way pots even, in position, as long as I can see the flop pretty cheaply. And the book on me is re-raise, re-raise, re-raise. If he enters the pot, raise him. Just keep putting the pressure back on Mark. So I find myself having to pedal the nuts sometimes, but it also depends on the composition of my table. Because if I keep showing them the nuts, which I will do for a period of time, and they keep staring it down, then you kind of beat them back into submission where they're like, okay, now, he's going to probably have a hand if he comes in. And as soon as you can identify that trend taking place and adjust your game to now open it up, it's just a game of cat and mouse. As soon as they start playing me one way, I'm going to change gears and do something else on them. So what I have to do is be ultra rested, ultra focused, and have a good read on my opponents. And that's one of the things that I'm really trying to work hard on.
Okay, now I'm curious. Now, Bart and I, obviously, and Shirley as well, but Shirley obviously has a really good tournament resume when she was with us. I don't really have much of a tournament resume. Okay, I don't get to play too many tournaments.
I sat with you at the World Series of Poker. You played darn well.
I know how to play the game, obviously, but when I'm playing tournaments, obviously I'm only playing about 10 tournaments a year because of the show and because I'm primarily a cash game player. I want to ask you just a couple of tournament strategy questions.
Okay.
Now, you're playing in the Legends tomorrow.
Right.
You're getting 20,000 in chips.
Right.
I mean, normally when you sit down at a table, these days, especially with the internet poker, you might only know one or two players at your table. Yeah. Maybe you know three.
You know zero, probably.
Right. But it doesn't necessarily mean much. Now, it used to, obviously, 6-7 years ago, if you sat down at a table and you didn't know anybody, that's a good thing.
That's a great thing.
Now you don't know, though, because these guys are pretty good players. You don't know how much tournament experience they have online.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I have gone on record and said that I would much rather play with 5 or 6, 7 players that I've played with and know than 9 random players like I often play with now, because some of them are so good, it's amazing, and they've got all the tricks, they've got a lot of tools in their arsenal, they're just great, sophisticated, well-developed, well-groomed, disciplined players. And then there's some that aren't so good, and then there's some that are just horrible, and you have to quickly be able to identify, basically, what I try to do is identify what moves they have. Are they capable of a big check, raise, bluff? Are they capable of calling for, while they're not getting odds, knowing that implied odds with a guy like me are
do
pretty
they understand
high.
that?
Yeah, because I'll pay off. If they're making those sort of adjustments to their game and they're showing me that much play, well, that's pretty good, and I'm going to give them a lot of credit, and I'm going to play them cautiously. If they're not, then I'm going to look to probably do more traditional things against them, wait till I have a big hand, trap them, things like that. So
in a deep stack tournament, obviously when you're playing a shorter tournament, sometimes you really got to push, obviously, and gamble up a little bit early.
Yeah.
In a tournament like this where you've got 90-minute rounds, you got 20,000 chips, are you going to go in the first couple of levels, or at least the first level, and kind of play it pretty tight, pretty close to the vest? Or are you going to try to get into a lot of pots and see how your opponents react to you?
See this thing? I am studying this thing meticulously.
Okay, let's see what we got.
This is our structure here. 20,000, as you said. Start
Right.
with 50 and 100, 90-minute rounds. Under this structure, you can really... There's only about 2 levels, really, that you can be messing around and seeing a lot of flops, and that's, 1 and 2.
It's funny, they give you 20,000 in chips, but they've cut out the first 2 levels pretty much.
Exactly.
Right.
So you really have to be careful past these 2 levels, actually maybe even the 3rd level, but once you introduce the antes, you really have to play a pretty solid game.
Right, you start thinking about it and you go, well, 100, 200 blinds at 25 ante, maybe your opening raise is 600 or 700 right now.
Well, 700 probably,
Yeah.
somewhere in that area. And I tell you, I think there's a strong argument to be made that you need to start raising maybe more than 3 or 4 times the big blind now, because we're starting to see 4 and 5-way flops when we raise 3 to 4 times the big blind. Usually that was enough to
But
push
people used to call you with ace king only or ace queen or
Right.
big pocket pairs, but now they're calling you with 6-7 suited.
Yeah, so one of the things we talk about is, maybe raising 5 or 6 times the big blind, so that when someone does call you with an inferior hand, it keeps punishing them just a little bit more, and then you get them into a position where they're shorter stacked because they've played loose, because they've played the suited connectors, small pairs, etc.,
Right.
and tried to snap you off. You're going to make them pay a little more now.
Right. Now, do you pick a target? When you sit down at the table, let's say one guy, okay, seat number 2, he's a pretty solid player. You played with him a bunch of times. He's a pro. He's a good player. Seat number 8's a good player, but you don't know the other 6 players.
Right.
You play a couple of rounds. Do you look for a target to kind of go for? Now, obviously, the first couple of levels, there's not too much value in stealing blinds.
Exactly.
But do you start looking for a target where, by level 4, if that guy's still at my table, he's a guy I'm going to start stealing blinds from because I think I can. And maybe I can outplay him. Even if he does call me, I can outplay him after the flop.
Well, absolutely. You're certainly, I equate it when I teach WPT boot camps or Camp Hellmuth or Camp WSOP, whatever it is now. I equate it to looking for that bison with a limp.
Camp live at the bike.
Yeah, Camp live at the bike.
Here we go.
You're looking for that injured animal. You're looking for that one that you're looking for weakness. You're looking for a sign of tilting. And tilting comes in various ways. Some people tilt by playing too many hands. Do they play too many hands aggressively, or do they come in limping too much? Are they opening raising, or are they just open limping? Are they failing to bet when they've got 2 pair and it's obvious to the world that 2 pair is good and they knock on the end?
Right.
We're looking for these
players that aren't making continuation bets, heads up, stuff like that.
Yeah, so we define tilt as playing less than optimal poker.
Okay.
That's all that tilt means to me, less than optimal poker. So I'm looking for players that are tilting. I'm looking for players that are either playing too tight, too loose, making improper bet amounts, not realizing where they are in the hand, getting trapped, failing to trap, etc. So we're looking for all those things, and as soon as you see something that's out of the ordinary, a sign of weakness, then you start focusing a little more on that person.
I feel like it's a National Geographic channel.
It's a National
I've seen
Geographic.
this little, the tiger sits there, and the antelope, the antelope's dead. The tiger's got him.
Well, that's exactly how it is. You're looking for the injured, antelope, or the one that's just got a little limp, and you're going to have to go after it. You're going to have to, go for the jugular, and
I
you're going
always
to have to
feel
take
for
it out.
that thing, man. It's like, no, come on, somebody help him out.
It's part of nature, my
Yeah,
friend.
I
Just
know,
like
man.
poker, part of nature.
Darwin's theory of evolution, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, great, man. Well, you are playing on Sunday,
I am.
2 p.m.
That's right.
Start time, 20,000 chips.
Yep.
And I got to tell you, one thing that's kind of funny, World Series of Poker last year, you won 2 bracelets. And if I don't give you a bad beat, there's a good chance you get a third. You know that, too.
I remember that
because
bad
you were
beat.
running so well.
I was running hot.
The hand in question, by the way, is I had flopped top set.
Right.
I remember, and we were playing pot limit. I did really well in the tournament, pretty much thanks to this hand. This is a huge hand.
Right.
I think it was right before the dinner break.
That's right.
And you had flopped a flush.
That's right.
And you played it so hard and so fast, you kind of threw me off. It was really, I was really impressed with the way you play. Obviously, I was impressed with your play, and I respect your play before that, but I never actually played with you. Mm-hmm. And playing with you, it was really interesting because I saw you raise it and then re-raise it and move all in. I'm going, man, I mean, I don't know if I can get away from top set anyway there.
Yeah, it's
I mean, because there's a lot of hands you could have. You could obviously have second set. You could have bottom set.
Exactly.
But I'm still looking at it going, man, if you had a flush, would he play it this hard? And, you did, and you obviously confused me, and I got lucky and spiked, the board paired, and I won.
Right. On the river.
Yeah, on the river, exactly. It was actually running fours. I remember it really well.
That's right.
And, unfortunately, I only turned that into like a 40th place. If you had won the pot, you probably would have come in first.
I had a lot of chips at that time. I remember that.
I know.
I remember I actually reacted that hand because I was like, oh, that was...
Because you knew that was the hand.
That was
if you win that hand, you could go all the way.
That was a key hand.
Yeah.
No doubt. And
especially with your tournament prowess, I mean, you know what to do when you get chips.
I like playing a big stack. I think I play a big stack well.
Yeah, I think so too.
I put a lot of pressure on my opponents, obviously. But the reason why I played the hand the way I did is because I thought that you were a smart enough guy to know that I'm ultra aggressive. I'm gonna come out pounding, and I thought exactly that type of situation would develop. Where if you had a big hand, you're like, Mark's trying to push me around. Let me just put him to the ultimate test. And obviously, you had a huge hand, huge opportunity there. So I didn't expect you to move off that type of hand, but I thought I could get you off a bigger flush draw, for example.
Right, exactly. Let's say I have like ace 8 or something like that with the ace of diamonds or something like that. Yeah, obviously I'm probably not going to commit all my chips there.
Right.
I still want to survive.
Right.
Well, for you, it's probably more about obviously first place.
Well,
you're looking to, obviously survival is part of it, but you're always looking for ways to, okay, how can I accumulate all the chips? Because I got to get them all.
Yeah, that's I think one of the things that provided me with a very poor WSOP as far as results-wise this year. There were so many times, there probably were 5 or 6 tournaments where late in the tournament I had a lot of chips, and I was, I believe, in a position to win the thing, but I still looked for that huge confrontation. I still looked for that huge bluff that would put me, 4 times the next guy instead of just cruising along at 2 times the next guy and waiting, being a little more patient.
A little more disciplined there.
Yeah, I'm certainly trying to win every tournament I'm in, and I think the way the tournament structure payouts are, you have to try to win because it's so much more profitable to win.
Yeah, I was talking to Dan Heimiller, obviously.
Sure.
Very well respected tournament pro, and he was telling me that the last 2 years of the World Series of Poker, he's actually down about $250,000, and he's cashed about 7 times, but he keeps cashing 15th, 17th, 19th, 21st. And it's just really tough to make money that way. You got to finish in 3rd, 2nd, or 1st to really make any money, unless obviously it's the main event.
Yeah, you have to, as you said, get up. And the way the World Series of Poker payout structures are, 1st and 2nd are really where the huge money is. Even 3rd place doesn't get treated quite as well as some other places. So, you have to go for the win.
And when you factor in expenses and all these other things, a kid.
Yeah, and what about exposure? Winning a tournament today makes you almost an instant superstar if it's a televised tournament. And you're going to get endorsement deals with online poker sites. You're going to get picked up in magazines. All of a sudden, you're going to get a call and someone's going to say, hey, can you do this show? And, who knows where it goes from there.
Well, it was great. Last year's Legend, 2 years ago Legends, obviously, you really came on the map. Obviously, poker players.
3 years ago.
3 years ago already. Wow, it's a while ago.
It was September of 2002.
Right, the one with Han Lee, right?
Yeah, it aired in March of 2003.
The crazy thing is, that World Series, that Legends, poker players knew who you were, but to the regular people in the world, they didn't know who you were, and then, boom, here's Mark Safe. And then, obviously, you followed it up with 2005 World Series. You really kicked some ass there. Yeah. And I got to tell you, what a year. You get married, you have a kid, you got the PPT going on, you got Absolute Poker, you got a book.
Right.
And, I'm sure, obviously, after it all soaks in, I'm sure you'll do well tomorrow.
I'm hoping to. It's been a long while since I've done well at the WPT. But you know what? One of the things I thought about on my trip on my ride over here from Vegas to here, I said, Legends of Poker, the bike, this is somewhat, my home casino. This is where it all started. I have more wins here than any other place. I have 3 Legends of Poker titles here. This is where I first came on TV. A lot of good stuff has happened right here at the bike. It's a great place to play. The staff is virtually unchanged. You got some of the best people in the business working here, and it feels so homey. It feels so comfortable. The players are always very well taken care of here, so I love playing here. So I'm hoping, getting prepared for a good outing tomorrow.
Well, hey, we think of you as one of our own, so we're going to root for you.
All right,
good luck to you,
thanks
and
a lot.
We'll keep track of you during the thing.
Awesome.
Once again, David Tuckman here at Live at the Bike with Mark Safe, 2-time bracelet winner.
Thank you.
Thanks, buddy. Good interview. Good job. Thank you, sir. Woo. Really good job. Sorry.
Good luck tomorrow. I hear everything. What is this red thing everybody's signing?
This is for Mothers Against Drunk Driving.
Oh, okay. I thought it was Barry Woods.
Right.
Look like a little man person. I want a seatbelt on my back.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks, Ronnie.
Seatbelt straps.
Oh, really?
It's like a seat.
I got signed up for it a long time ago.
There you go.
Updated. I know.
I'm sure
Guys,
one's enough.
Just put check marks next to it every time you stop.
That's right. Okay, you know what? Where's your leg? I'll just put a little mark there.
Thanks for coming in, Mark.
Okay, thanks, David. Good job, buddy. All right, see you.
Bye.
You can edit.
We'll just write it out. I mean, we're just going to put these little sections people can just watch in there.
Well, the cool thing is you're talking about the player profiles, right? So you can put that in the. Hear an interview with Mark Seed.
Exactly. A whole section.
Hear what he said about tournament spoken.
Awesome. Oh, that's right.
So is he going to come out? So we want to give him
What are we doing now? Doyle?
Carl. Yeah, let me pull this chair out real quick so we can get that nice picture.
I feel like I'm interviewing every other week.
Let's knock this out. I got to take this one.
Yeah, no problem.
Every other week I'm interviewing. It's crazy. Where's Mark?
Tell us how many minutes you want to go, and that's what we'll do.
Yeah, I got to meet them. I got to play everybody's interest.
Okay, we'll do it quick.
Get out there and find them. Cindy and Floyd. I don't have my hat. I ran off and forgot my hat.
On the right side, there's a little round plastic button.
Yep.
Yeah. Lower myself. On the right hand side. Oh, there it is.
There we go.
Cool. I'll make it upside. There we go. So I feel like I'm interviewing you every other day. It's crazy.
Well, it's better than the alternative.
Definitely.
All right, so when you want to go?
Whenever you're ready. Here we are with 10-time bracelet winner, legend of poker, Doyle Brunson. How are you, Doyle?
Hey,
Good to see
how
you. You are in town for the Legends of Poker, which, of course, you won 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And, really a phenomenal feat, obviously. I mean, you were doing it time and time again, just showing the world that you're still one of the best there is.
Well, I've always enjoyed coming to the back.
Yeah.
The back's always been it's not just because I'm here either. It's always been my favorite spot in
Really?
California. Yeah,
Well, that's great.
Because when I first started coming to the back, I think maybe the back was one of the first ones. And, boy, the players were really soft back in those days. And I won a lot of money here. So it's got a soft spot in my heart.
Okay, I like that. Do you have a favorite bike moment for us?
Well, it'd have to be when I won the championship here.
Won the championship 2 years ago.
Yeah, a couple of years ago. Yeah.
Pretty good. Now, this is an interesting tournament. Obviously, you are playing today, actually, in about a half hour. You're going to jump in there. And I'm just curious, you're getting 20,000 in chips. And obviously, you're going to sit down at a table with a bunch of players that, you might know a few of them, but you might not know that many. What kind of strategy are you going to employ when you sit down and are you going to trying to learn all the players that you don't know?
Well, that's always the challenge. You have to make your mind up what you're going to do by the players at the table. They dictate how you're going to play. I personally just as soon be at a table with good players. Most of the guys say, they would rather be with the guys, but for some reason, I play better against better players. And,
right.
And these guys that off the internet, I got no clue what they're doing, and I have trouble with them because I don't know.
Right. It's tough to put somebody on a read. It's tough to read somebody when maybe they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, and they all know me, and they're everyone of them shooting for me. So every time I can't make any kind of move when I'm right on top of me. So
right.
It limits me, but that's a two-edged sword. If I can hold anything, it's good.
I was going to say, being Doyle Brunson, are there often times where people will, players will try to get in a hand with you and try to knock you out, so they can go home and say, "I knocked out Doyle Brunson. I got in a hand with Doyle Brunson."
Yeah, many times that happens. They make the comment when they come in the pot, and again, it's a two-edged sword because it should be good for me
if you're making hands.
If you're making hands, but boy, if you don't make anything, you're just gone.
Right.
I can't survive. So consequently, I go out early in a lot of tournaments, which if you're going to go out, that's the best time to go out anyway.
Right. No point in sticking around for 10 hours and making nothing out of it.
That's the way I
go get out and get in the cash game, make some money.
It's whether you everybody's got their priorities. A lot of it depends on your financial situation.
Right.
I've seen guys just try to hang in there to get up in the money. I've never played that way. Even back before I was financially secure, I still played to win the tournament.
Right.
I tried to make the play that I thought would help me win the tournament as opposed to just lasting and getting more money.
Right. Now, in today's era, obviously, with the tournaments being so
huge.
Yeah, and all the money is pretty much skewed toward the top 3 spots. Doesn't really pay just to get in the money, does it?
No, it's better to get on up there. But again, some people, like at the World Series, you got to the last table, you got $1 million something dollars.
Yeah, main event, obviously, yeah.
So, that's a lot of money. And if a guy really needs the money, he has to think about that and maybe not make the right plays sometimes just to survive and to go on and to make a little more money.
Right. It's funny. Obviously, on Live at the Bike here, we primarily do no-limit cash games. We do some pretty big games. Obviously, Wednesday night we had a 5,100 no-limit hold'em game. During the Legends, obviously, we'll be having these big games where, we'll have about $200,000 on the table. Obviously, not very big compared to the games you play in, but big for our standards. When I'm giving advice to our viewers, I often reference your book, Super System 1, one of my favorite books, and your no-limit section. How relevant do you think your section is today? I mean, because to me, it really stands the test of time.
Well, it has. The fundamentals and the principles are the same. You have to adapt your style of play a little bit according to the players as opposed to when I wrote the book because there's so many more sophisticated players. But, the fundamentals are still there. I'm trying to write a new book called The New Hold'em. But I don't have time to do much work on it. But it's times have changed.
Yeah.
But the game itself don't change. I mean, you still if you do the right things, you'll win.
Right.
But you do have to adapt yourself because the aggression that I talked about in Super System 1 has to be modified a little bit simply because the players are better.
Right. When I talk about some of the attributes that make a poker player very successful, obviously the ability to adapt to your surroundings, to your competitors,
definitely.
Probably one of the most important things. I mean, would you agree with that?
That's definitely it.
Yeah. Okay. So 10-time bracelet winner. We got Legends of Poker. Now you don't have that much time to play poker these days, do you? I mean, between Doyle's room, obviously, all the books, all the interviews, the endorsements, everything that's going on in your life. I mean, do you get to actually play?
I don't get to play nearly as much as I want to. I wonder if all this is worth it because I'm the real deal. I'm a poker player. That's what I want to do, and I don't get to play as much as I want to. And like Doyle's room does take a lot of my time and effort and energy, so I miss a lot of poker games that I'd like to be playing in.
Right.
But hopefully I'll change that in the next year or so.
Okay. Well, this is great. Doyle Brunson, 10-time bracelet winner. I'm going to let you go so you can go get ready for the big tournament, and we will definitely keep track of you in there.
All right. Thanks.
Oh, and we can just start. I can just start whenever. Okay. Well, here we are. We are back with 4-time World Series of Poker bracelet holder Huck Seed.
How you
Thanks
doing,
for
man?
stopping by. Huck, of course, here for the Legends of Poker tournament. Now, Huck, what I always find interesting about you was you've won a main event bracelet, and then, a lot of the people that were, really into poker before the TV boom knew about you. And then you were almost a little bit unknown to the general public that didn't know poker, and now, recently, with your heads-up success and more televised poker, now I would think that people kind of stop you in public. Do you find that now that, you almost get approached by people and say, hey, don't you play poker? Aren't you that guy?
I mean, there was a few years there where no one knew me, because I didn't play that many WPTs, and I bubble out 7th, and I was never on TV, so the whole new generation didn't know me, but now people know me. So
I mean, you're of the class where, you've been playing for what, about 15, 20 years? I mean, almost as long as, say,
I've been
like a
playing
Hellmuth.
for 17 years.
17 years, yeah.
I came around maybe a year or two after Hellmuth. So.
A year or two after Hellmuth. And you're here for the Legends event, which has now grown to a $10,000 event here. Now,
it used to be a 10,000 event actually a long time ago, right?
And then they changed it to a 5,000.
Yeah, I think so.
And then it was the biggest event, and now it's back up to 10,000. Do you pretty much travel the circuit and try to play in every major tournament, or you just pick and choose
no,
here?
I don't really. I mean, I haven't played that many the last few years.
And basically, when you are playing poker, you play in a lot of the ring games. I mean, this show is basically about no limit cash games for the most part.
Oh, really?
Kind of as opposed to some of the tournament stuff that you see on TV. I mean, is that basically where you make most of your money in a ring game? Do you, is it more from sponsorship now? Break it down in terms, because you say you don't play that much in
no limit
tournaments.
cash games is pretty easy, money for me right now.
Yeah.
A lot of times if I sit down, it just seems like it's a win. A lot of times, there's a lot of games going, so you can always find a good one.
And what we had Barry Greenstein in here earlier in this week, and he was talking, and maybe you can relate to the fact that no limit cash games were around, back say 15, 20 years ago, and then it seemed all the good players pretty much bled out all the bad players, and all the bad players.
It might have been longer than that, because when I first came around, there really weren't any. It was hard to find one.
So you came in that time when it kind of had stopped.
It had died out, yeah.
And now
I'd play in a game here and there, but
and now the reemergence of no limit cash games have come back. And obviously, they've been around for about 2.5 years, and now they're almost in every single casino, right, at the highest levels.
Yeah, it's amazing how many no-limit cash games there are, and they're just going strong, and they're not slowing down.
Now, when you come into a casino and say you want to play a ring game, what levels are you looking for? What games are you looking for? Obviously, you probably have trying to pick the best game, but you play everything. You might play like a mixed limit.
Well, I mean, I've played so much poker in my life. You play a lot of this game, you get bored of it, so you play a different game, then you play mixed games, and you go no-limit and pot limit, Omaha, and there's a lot of different games, so it keeps it fun.
Now you are one of the original members, and correct me if I'm wrong, of Full Tilt, right?
No,
of the
I
players?
really just joined about a year ago.
Oh, you did? Okay, but you're not necessarily a friend of Full Tilt. Are you?
I'm a friend of
You
Full
are a friend
Tilt,
of Full Tilt. Because I see you on there. What kind of games, at what levels do you play on there?
I mix it up. I'll jump in some big games or little games. I like their new feature they have, the Pro Chat, where you. Because before, it's hard to play. I like to sometimes play in multiple games. Mm-hmm. That's one fun thing about the internet. You can challenge yourself and see how many games you can play at once and stuff. Like, I remember one time when I was 20, I first went to the World Series of Poker, and it was my first losing month, and it was the first time I experimented. I was a limit hold'em player only, and then I played tournaments and satellites and messed around and all kind of different games, and ended up losing $15,000 for the month, which was a lot for me. And I just came back to L.A. where I was living, played a couple sessions at 20-40 limit hold'em, 15-30, which is what I played, and lost like $1,000 each time. I couldn't take it anymore. I had to quit poker for like a month. Yeah. So I played chess every day for a month. I got into chess, but just for about a month. It was all day, every day, and then I went back to poker. I took the loss out of my system, but it was amazing. I learned a little about the chess world and these grandmasters who play blindfolded 50 people at once. You know what I mean? It's amazing. So, people say, oh, how can you play 8 games at once? Well, grandmaster chess, they'll play 50 at once.
It's funny you talked about chess, because Barry Greenstein mentioned it a couple days ago on the show. I would assume if you can develop a chess skill where you can think say 8, 10 moves ahead, and some of the grandmasters think, say, 15, 20 moves ahead. Whereas in
So that's
poker,
a lot. Grandmasters don't think that many moves ahead. I don't think.
no.
No, well, just if in end game they might, but just in the normal middle game, it's just 5, 6 moves.
Okay,
ahead, I
5,
think.
6 moves ahead,
That's
but
still a lot.
But in poker, I mean, maybe you only have to think 2 streets ahead. So did that help you out in terms of thinking about having a plan on what to do, say on 4th Street or on the river?
Nah, not really. I mean, the main thing about chess is, I was never very good anyway. I mean, there are some good chess players in the poker world. One, for instance, Dan Harrington. He was an excellent chess player. He's a super no limit hold'em tournament player. And I had a little talk with him one time about the chess and the poker, and he said that well, see, in chess, you make strong moves, one blunder, and the game's over. And those games take forever, 5, 6 hours. And if you make one bad move, you could be done for the game. So, it helped. He said what really helped him is playing in a long poker tournament. He would, make way less big mistakes than other people because of his chess focus.
Now, obviously, before the age of the internet, you have, say, a young kid that might not look, say, older than 23 come into a game.
I see guys 15. They look about
right.
15 every time.
But, I mean, let's say 10, 15 years ago, before people were playing online poker, you see a young guy, and he's not experienced. Maybe you're kind of salivating.
Yep.
Now, what do you think? I mean, now it doesn't really mean anything, right?
That helped me when I first came around because I was one of the only young ones.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, can't play it off for sure.
Right.
We can't beat us. We've been playing for all these years and da-da-da. But I learned quick, and so when I was in my low 20s, I was able to,
be able to pump it
compete
out
with most anybody, because also it was helping me that people weren't giving me enough credit. But nowadays, forget it. I mean, a guy could be playing since he's 12 years old on the internet and played more hands that you could hardly get in your lifetime if you were playing live poker.
He might have played more hands than Doyle Brunson in 5 years, right? Like playing
Maybe,
12 tables at a time. One last thing before I know I got to get out of here. And I wanted to comment. I want you to comment on it because it involves some players I'm sure that you know pretty well. Is this WPT antitrust lawsuit? You're here. You're going to play in this event. What do you think about that? Some of these guys who have refused to play in the WPT events because they think that WPT has a monopoly on tournament poker.
But to tell you the truth, I haven't thought about it a bit.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been one to like politics. Politics don't interest me. And although poker's grown so much, so the politics has grown
right
100 times more than the poker's grown. So that's
you just want to play poker.
That's one thing about the poker that I don't like. That's one reason I got into it because there's no politics in it.
Yeah, and you don't want to necessarily deal with any of that stuff. You just want to.
I don't like. Yeah, I don't like that stuff. And as it is, you're bringing up something to do with politics that's a big problem that it's making people feel bad, and it's a problem. So I'm not involved in solving that one. So
well, Huck, I want to really I really want to thank you for stopping by. I know you're a busy guy, and good luck here at Legends. Thanks a lot.
tournaments.
Okay.
And, it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of tough work. I won $1 million on a cruise ship a while back in a tournament. And I played with Johnny over 10 years ago.
Is that right?
Yeah, we played heads up, and the whole room was watching us from Atlantic City to the Tower, just like in Rounders.
Is that right?
And there were so many people watching us. It was just unbelievable. And he was
You got to the final table?
No, I was playing him in a cash game.
Oh,
I sat down and played him in a cash game heads up, just for the experience of playing with him. And he was just amazing. He just impressed me so much.
Really?
Great at reading me. When I had nothing, he made a great call. And it really taught me a lot. And I wish I had him give me lessons and learning from him 10 years ago. But it really does help playing with the best players because you learn a lot about how they play and you improve your game.
Well, let's talk about that because I'm one of the old school guys that I'm learning now. Poker's not necessarily a game of luck, but there is a lot of skill. There is a lot of, a big learning curve and stuff. So let's talk about that. We're talking about coaching and Johnny Chan coaching.
And we are back here, and we are here with David Chu. And David, we're going to talk with you real briefly here for a couple minutes. Of course, you are here in town for Legends of Poker, the WPT. And I want to talk to you mainly because we talk a lot about this show about, now you mainly travel the tournament circuit, is that right, and play a lot of tournaments?
Not necessarily. I don't play much of a tournament as much as I used to.
Yeah.
But I always want to play the $10,000 buy-in or more.
Okay. Now, what I wanted to really ask you was, do you think that somebody can make it in this day and age in poker and say, I'm a professional poker player, that doesn't play ring games successfully and that doesn't have sponsorship? Is it really possible to beat the travel expenses, to beat the VIG on the tournaments, and just say, I just play tournaments, I can make a living in poker? Is that possible to do?
Well, most people, I don't think so.
Yeah.
But it's really, a few of them can do it.
Yeah.
But, you have to play cash game and, capable winning cash game and buy in from there.
And that's really where the real money of poker is made, say, in a ring game, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Now, what kind of games do you like to play on the side?
On the side, we usually play the mixed games, like 300, 600, and 400, 800, or a little bit, higher.
Now, we do, Live at the Bike is kind of like a show like High Stakes Poker on GSN. It's a cash game that we show here that's No Limit Hold'em. Do you play a lot of No Limit Hold'em cash games, or is that something that you haven't gotten into?
I play some of them, but mostly I play with Yosh and the mixed game.
And the mixed game?
Yes.
So like, say, the 300, 600 mixed game here that
Correct.
might go, something like that. Do you ever? What's the highest level you've ever played at?
2 and 4,000.
2 and 4,000. So you've gotten that big. Haven't hopped into the 4,000, 8,000 though.
No, not into that.
No. But are you mostly comfortable with a lot of these games that you play?
Yes.
Very comfortable with pretty much every game that's out there.
Right.
Are you of the feeling that the main event might, should be changed maybe to a horse format, or you think that the horse tournament really is, say, the cream of the crop in terms of pro poker players?
Well, the horse tournament is, a lot of people is not get used to. A lot of newcomers, they only play No Limit or Hold'em on the internet. Most of them, they learn from the internet.
Right.
But we need to let people know that this is a horse game, and if you want to become a professional poker player, that you need to play every game.
Yeah. Well, I really want to thank you for stopping by, David. It was great.
Oh, you're welcome.
And
My
thanks
pleasure.
for giving us that insight.
Thank you.
And we'll be back.
Currently the #1 ranked woman in the world poker. Kathy, thank you very much for sitting down. Good luck in this tournament. Let's see if we can win the major pot. What do you think?
Thank you. Yep.
Thank you. Good job. Great job. Good luck. I'm going to be looking for you. Thanks a lot, Captain.
Captain, my captain.
I'm sorry?
Captain, my
Jim
captain's
Schreiner.
next.
Who's this?
Tom.
Hi, Tom.
His nickname is the Captain. He's got
Captain?
a gold bracelet on there for you and everything.
Got a what?
No, wait.
That's a while ago.
The
newest one.
That's the newest. Tom was just telling me that he loves math, loves mathematics, so the stats and statistic things are a huge advantage. So that might be a good direction to go.
Okay. I own a dealer school. Oh, really? Here in town. Let's talk
Yeah,
about.
ask him how he got started.
Yeah, talk about how you got started. Let's talk about. I like that. Let's talk about the fact that, because I like to reiterate that this is not a luck game. There's a lot of skilled numbers are involved. Reading.
Let's talk about this year's World Series. I was one of the best.
Let me see. There, that's good. He'll do a signature. You see his camera okay, right? Ready? Yeah. We'll edit out whatever we don't need, but tell me your name again.
Captain Tom Franklin.
Captain Tom Franklin. Captain Tom Franklin. That's what we'll go to. So, okay, ready? I'm joined with Captain Tom Franklin. Before we get started, tell me, how'd you get the nickname Captain?
Well, first I was in the Marine Corps, but I was enlisted. And then I came back and I took climbing lessons in Vegas. And I would go to the dunes to play with Johnny.
Here we are with Tuan Lee, World Poker Tour champion. How are you, Tuan?
Hey, what's up?
How's it going, man? So you're playing in the Legends of Poker, of course?
Yeah.
Main event? You're playing today, right?
Yeah, I'm playing
in like
today.
what, like 4 minutes?
Yeah, in a couple minutes, I think.
Okay, kill a couple minutes. Why not? Just out of curiosity, you're starting with 20,000 chips. Now, you are an ultra-aggressive player, right?
Yeah,
I
don't know.
You like to push, right?
Yeah,
I know
I
that.
like to get the money in there.
Exactly. Now, just out of curiosity, now, normally when you sit down at a table, you know a lot of the players you're playing against. Now, when you sit down at a table with a bunch of internet players that you don't know, do you change your strategy up a little bit? I mean, do you have to kind of feel out and see who you can get money from?
As far as that goes, yeah, I think there is a disadvantage for me because they know who I am, but I don't know who they are.
Right.
So I mean, they get to make the adjustments first. So yeah, I try to change, but I mean, there's no point in changing. They know it's coming, so I might as well just throw them the fastball and try to let them hit it. You know, it's just no, I don't try to change it up anymore.
Okay, I was going to actually ask you if with your notoriety, now that people know who you are, do you have to change your game at all, or do you just go, you know what, my best pitch, I'm going to give it to you. If you can hit it, you can hit it.
I think that's what players go through, like slumps and stuff, because they try to adapt and go outside their comfort zone and play without outside their element. So they have like slumps.
Okay.
Everyone goes through. All the pros go through it because
right. You start doubting yourself maybe a little bit, questioning how you
your
play.
confidence, diminishes. So I don't know. They know it's coming, so I just throw my best pitch, and they know what's coming. And if they can hit it, then hey,
all the power be it, man.
Yeah,
there you go.
God bless them.
Okay, I got to talk a little smack here. We had Tim Fan on the show for like an hour, about I want to say like 3 or 4 days ago.
Okay.
And Tim was in here.
Yeah.
And we're talking about some cash game play. Obviously, live at the bike, we do cash games, no limit hold'em.
Okay.
And we were saying, give us some players that are, some players that play big that are somewhat live. And I don't know, man. I thought you guys were buddies.
Yeah.
He said you were live. He said you were a live one. I mean, that's Tim talking. I was like, Tuan?
Well,
Tuan can play.
well-
But no, he said, Tuan, he's a live one. What do you say to that?
Well, Tim could play me heads up anytime he wants, for any amount he wants. I mean, he knows better.
We
than
can arrange that on Live at the Bike,
Yeah, this is an open challenge to him. You can tell Tim Fan that anytime he wants to ante up as much money as he wants, we can play for as high as he wants.
Sounds good. Well, here we go. We got Tuan Lee, one of definitely the best contenders in the Legends of Poker this year. Go get him, man.
Hey, thanks a lot. Thanks for
Appreciate
having
it.
me.
I mean, it's given us literally hundreds of thousands of new players, and that's a great thing for poker. They are great tools. Almost every site has a learning phase in it somewhere, and you can play for free on some of them, in fact, all of it. And so where you learn what your mistakes are, and it's hard to play good in the play area, but you'll learn the sequence of the card, you'll learn the ethics of how to
You learn some strategies and the mathematics and stuff that you could apply in the poker room.
And most importantly, almost all of them have a somewhere you can click on it to go in and ask questions or go in to calculate the odds for you, and you can look at it and start memorizing. I mean, it's just like anything. If you're going to be a surgeon, you got to go to school.
Sure.
And that's what poker is.
I mean, I don't think there's any sport or any event that you don't need coached, and I know that Johnny Chan is actually working with Rush to Win, and they put together an online program where people can actually learn. I would have to imagine that if Johnny Chan, one of the world's best poker players, is working on a way to help people make money in the poker industry, it's got to be something worth looking at.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's huge. And you get somebody that can tutor you that is accomplished, as Johnny Chan is. I mean, that's nothing but a plus because you're being taught from the best, right? And he has nothing to lose by teaching you, so you're going to learn exactly what you need to learn. So I mean, anything that Johnny would put out, I would stamp with approval immediately because the man can play. And there's only, I only respect about 10% of the poker world anyway. Well, he's up in the 1%.
That's right. Captain, it was a pleasure. I thank you for sitting down. Good luck in the tournament. I hope to see you at the final table again this year.
Me too.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Don't move. I need a couple of cutaways. Want him to play with the chips more?
Do you need him talking to me and me shaking my head again?
I need him playing with the chips.
Perfect. Okay. Just get canned. We don't have enough B-roll of cards and poker chips.
Well, then you definitely don't want this next one I'll show you.
Okay, would you move your right arm in just a little bit so I can get a shot of the bracelet, please, sir? Thank you. That's fine.
Go with the right hand.
Nice ring, too.
That is a nice ring.
That is. Black amethyst is what they call it.
It's a opal. A blue or black opal. Yeah, it was a gift.
Are you in the tournament, too? Yeah. Starting today?
I started today. I always like day one. 5 of diamonds. Put that 5 down. Two of spades. We put the deuce down. Now the 5 of diamonds. We'll put the 5 of diamonds down. So we got the 5 deuce of diamonds? Not really.
Are you done, Ken?
I actually taught some gaming commission stuff.
Keep talking. Okay.
I actually taught some gaming commission in the States and in Canada and in Australia on card mechanics, how to see it. Because to do what I just did, you have to have what they call mechanics. Because you're moving cards.
Right.
You're moving cards, especially at a speed where the eye the cat can't see it. Now with the technology today, you have to really be good. But there are some guys out there that are like this. But I show them to do it, you have to hold it a certain way. It's a mechanics script. If you've got them covered in certain ways, like this is uncovered, you can do it. If you got them covered, watch how tough it is to do the second. Do the second when you're right.
Okay, thank you very much.
Cross. Watch what happens if I do it. If I deal it like I'm supposed to, now you deal like this. If I deal it like I'm supposed to, watch what happens in slow motion. Right there, it's going to catch that really hot by the sky. But if I do it underhand, it won't be. So dealers, I don't know, you can probably see it, and sometimes they just deal like that. So yeah. You don't want that.
Because he can be sneaky.
Yeah, you can do it. If they're good, they can go all the way down to 6. There's no defensive.
Thanks a lot, Dean. Good luck. I'll watch for you.
All right. Where'd you end up? Okay.
What would you want here next?
Rod. What do I need to know about him? Who is he? What is he?
My friend, John Robert.
No, this is
Oh, that's Mike.
I know. Is he coming on?
One of the biggest captains to pour one up.
Maybe it's me somewhere.
And he knows a lot about Asia, so you can ask him about the internet.
Yeah, it's better.
Expansion, about where it's Yeah.
Really?
He's part of it.
Tell me this stuff. His name's Who's this?
You're lucky we're family.
Is this?
How you doing?
Are you Mike?
I'm Jean Robert.
Oh, John Robert. Well, they switched him up. He points at him and says, Mike.
Mike's a celebrity, dude. Mike, are you playing today? Yeah. You want to go first then? No, you go ahead.
Rod, what's up with him and Rush to Win?
Yeah, no, go ahead. You know, I'll go right ahead.
This guy.
Just stats. He's not part of it.
Well, you switched him up.
You can let up there just a second. This one.
Okay, Mike, so I guess you are.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi,
I'm
Mike.
Lucy.
Hi, Lucy. I'm Jim.
Hi, Jim. Nice to meet you.
Mike's one of the biggest cash players in the world.
That's what I'm going to get out of him.
Thank you. Thank
Hi,
you.
Mike.
He knows our course.
Okay.
He'll endorse our.
I want to talk about what I really want to talk about is the worldwide market and how the internet is going to open up a global portal to making this a huge thing worldwide, and how Rush to Win can help with that by teaching people overseas, blah, 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 worldwide. Of course, we want to get to know you, who you are, how much money you have. Are you in the tournament?
Yeah.
Are you going to win?
I'm going to win, yes.
That's what I wanted to hear. So
Yeah,
you're the first man. All right.
I'm going to win.
So everybody said, I'll try. I don't want to hear try. I want to win.
I'm going to win.
I'm going in there. You got some balls. I said, I'm the man. You're currently the top money player?
I play in probably the biggest games here in LA.
Okay. Yeah, but what did Brock say? You're the top. Oh, you ready? Top cash player?
Well, he means I play in probably one of the biggest games. Okay. One of the biggest cash games.
All right, let's talk about that. Mike, what's your last name?
Kim.
Mike Kim?
Yes.
Okay. I'm joined here with Mike Kim, and the way I understand it, you're one of the biggest cash money players. Explain that. What's that mean?
Well, there's a difference between tournament players and live cash players. In cash playing game is, we play with real cash.
Okay.
And then whether it's 200, 400, or 400, 800, the structure is limit, so we put up like $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 up front, and we play for real cash.
It's your real money.
Yes, it is.
Well, how's that related to people that play for chips in a tournament game? So they just kind of advance up to the money.
That's right. That's right. Well, people that win hundreds of thousands of dollars in tournaments, they only risk $10,000 or $5,000 to get in. That's all they can risk.
Okay. Where when you play, you have to keep risking and keep climbing.
That's right. I can lose 100,000 one day and lose 100,000. So I really have to watch out for my thing.
Well, let's talk about. We're talking about how the internet has literally opened up a whole portal of younger players are now playing online. How do you think the internet is going to affect the poker game, not only here in the United States but worldwide?
Well, I tell you one thing. This internet is really, really a fascinating thing. So many young players play so many hands that they become actually a good player, And then I still prefer a live game versus internet because I can look at their face and then the tells and stuff like that. But I consistently beat the internet games too. Matter of fact, I'm involved in internet gaming myself. So
okay. Let's talk about. We're actually talking about a training course called Rush to Win, and it just makes common sense that a person, at least a young and upcoming person who maybe is intimidated to go into the casino, can learn the ins and outs, the strategies and tips on the internet. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think Rush to Win is going to totally bring in fascinating ideas for everybody, especially in Asia, which I'm going to be involved in. Asia's about like a few years behind everywhere else because gambling or playing poker is not something that
not nationally accepted yet.
Correct. But once we show them that this is a skill game
and not just luck.
That's right. People can get some good education through websites like Rush to Win. They can get education and really know how to play the game. I think this is going to be a very, very big market for everybody.
Well, like I said, worldwide it's an interesting concept because, like I said, for the convenience of your own home, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, in your pajamas, you can actually learn the strategies from the pros. You can learn the tips and at least become comfortable with the game and understanding how the game works before you even step into a casino.
That's why it's so fascinating. That's why it's so great because there might be players that lost hundreds of thousands of dollars in the casino, which is blackjack or roulette, which there has no skill to it. Right. Now they can learn how to play the game and be able to actually use it and know there's a skill to this game.
Right. Mike, I want to thank you for sitting down with me. It's been a pleasure, and I look forward to you being at the final table of this tournament. And I want to see you win.
Thank you. I'm going to win.
All right. That's what I want to hear. Good job. Right there's your winner. He says he's going to win. He's the first person. He's the first person in all my interviews that has said he's going to win. Everybody else says maybe. He said he's going to win. And he even said he's going to split it with me. I have it on recording. Thanks, Mike. Good luck, buddy. I'm watching for you. You're watching 10 minutes of walking out. How long does it take the person, once this tournament starts, before the first loser is out? 15 minutes. So in a matter of minutes, the first few people can be knocked out. Yeah. So who are you with?
I'm actually shooting for the casino.
Right.
A lot of good ones today.
Did you get mine and Ken's pictures?
Your pictures? Oh, let's get you there.
What about me? Did you get it to get us?
Good job, Linda.
All right.
That's what she said.
She said that?
No, I didn't say that.
Is there anything new we got to learn?
He did a good job with that.
So we're all good. You don't need to do this again. We're all good. You don't need to do this again. We're not even going to
Chief, incidentally.
How are you again? How did your interview with Jennifer last night?
Hey, Bernie, how are we on Casey or...
You told
He's not
me
here.
yesterday you told me it was last night.
The days just kind of fly over.
You know, I can understand.
Days are like as soon as they do your life.
Who was the other person we were trying to get?
Excellent.
What? Casey or Maddie Lawrence? Hello.
Hey.
Jim Schreiner.
Jim, how you doing?
Pronounce your name again.
Jean Robert.
Before he starts, tell me a little bit about yourself, what I need to know. Who are you? Where you going? Where you been? That kind of stuff.
Well, I'm one of these players who's like, I'm not like one of the top players, but I'm one of the more known players because of my aggressive style at the table. And I'm one of those players that's like either people love me or they hate me because I'm kind of loud. I take over a table.
Not as bad as the Hellmuth, right?
Hellmuth, Mike Madison, I mean, all of them were good at being table captains. I mean, they're like a little bit more outrageous than I am, but you know, I do my, I think, kind of charming. I have a way of like being aggressive and obnoxious, and then being charming at the same time. Where it's like they don't ever hate me, but they want to beat me so badly because they just want to shut me up.
All right, what I want to talk about is a couple things. First, give me the Reader's Digest on how you actually got started in poker, how the internet is affecting poker, not only here in the United States but globally. That's what we really want to talk about. Is it a skill game? No, it's not. It's a statistics game, mathematical strategies, and that kind of stuff. And we want to show people that through these internet sites, especially restaurants, where they can actually learn the game. They give them the practical skills to take them in the
Online poker and then what?
Just that they can learn the strategies of learning the game. They'll be able to take them to be better skilled in poker. And how the internet's going to affect the world of poker, not just the United States, but the world. Pronounce the name again.
Jean Robert.
Anybody out there?
Jean Robert.
Boy, this guy's asking some real in-depth questions to Bobby Bond.
Jean Robert.
Dave, what do you think about the state of poker on the internet in the U.S. and globally?
Jean Robert Ballon.
Oh, wow.
Jean Robert Ballon. We are streaming this, by the way, so we're just going to have a little fun with this guy. If anyone's watching out there.
But the guy's interviewing, he doesn't know his name.
The funny thing is he's asking questions that, like, he obviously does not know that much about poker. I don't mean to attack the guy personally, but...
Unbelievable.
We can commentate on his interview.
John Rivera.
You were calling me Robert all the time. Robert, what's up? John Rivera.
John Rivera, what's up? First off, we're talking about poker. Tell me a little about
John
how you
Rivera,
got
what's up?
started in it.
Hey, John Rivera, John
Where you
Rivera.
see it.
John Rivera, what's up? John Rivera.
Well, I actually got my start in
I think I'm
poker
gonna,
right here.
I think I'm gonna post something on 2+2 here, saying that we are streaming.
How long ago?
About, I would say about
just so that
5 years
people
ago.
will know.
6 years ago. I came
And then
in
they
here
can
one
check
night. I
out
just had a
this
nice,
guy interviewing
night.
people.
I wasn't
So what did you do out there,
I was never
Dave,
like
when you
a
went?
pro pool player, but I was making good money.
Oh, look at this! Somebody's already
And I
posted.
just had a nice little $5,000 win. I was on my way home, and I decided, hey, let's stop at this casino. And I went and messed around with the blackjack.
Did you find Gavin Smith, Dave?
I wasn't looking for Gavin Smith.
Blackjack.
We were looking for
And I
him.
said, you know what, let me try my hand at this poker. For the first night I played
Thank you,
poker,
I
I came and played.
I wasn't looking for anybody. What are we doing?
Relatively high level.
What am I doing?
You can take it off. I was just trying to make fun of the guy. That's all.
He's doing a fine job.
Okay, all
But while I
right.
was playing, I just loved it. The first time I ever played. And
Are we going live too? This is not delayed. This is live.
Actually, the first year I lost.
It is raw. So I can see that Kev Math already posted something in response,
100, 200.
and then they can hear me.
But
Yeah.
later on, I started to study the game and stuff, and I just began to love it. It took me a while to become a great team player, and then after about 2 years, then I started becoming a winning player. And now I just love the tournaments. I think I might.
Dave, you care to comment on how Mark Safe kicked me out of the booth so you could do an interview with me?
I play a lot of tournaments.
Anybody that's going to watch this content?
That not about that it is.
That was absolutely hysterical. Mark Safe
Hey, turn that down, turn that down.
Mark Safe apparently wanted to do an interview.
Yeah.
He wanted him in here, and he said, "Okay, I'll do it with Dave, but not Bart." And I gotta tell you, I like Mark a lot. I think he's a really good guy. He just doesn't like you.
But you guys you didn't ask him, right?
We talked pretty much exclusively about you.
No, you didn't.
We did. It was like a 15-minute. I'm sorry. Okay, 7 minutes about you.
I didn't. I asked other people. It wasn't even mentioned.
They didn't want to make you
Gags
feel
up.
bad.
Gags up, buddy.
Okay, fine. Go watch the archive then. Whatever.
I will then, I guess.
I guess so.
I mean, you certainly interviewed him for about 35 minutes.
You know what's kind of cool, actually? I told anybody that remembers Tim Fan was on our show, 4 days ago, 5 days ago?
Yeah.
And Tim said, remember Tim said that Twan was kind of a live one?
Right.
So I told Twan Lee in the booth, we interviewed him, and I go, Twan, Tim Fan thinks you're a live one.
Yeah.
So Twan Lee was like, okay, you know what? You tell Tim Fan, I will challenge him. I'll play him anywhere, anytime, for any amount of money. Heads up.
Yeah, but you know the funny thing I was telling you out in the hall, why does it always have to come down to that? We were talking about how I can be the best full ring player in the world, and I can just take you out. You know I'm one of the best. I can make shitloads of money, and then you say, all right, I want to play you heads up. It's like apples and oranges.
Yeah, but there's no way to challenge. You can't.
Right.
It's not like I can challenge you to a 9-person game. I can go, okay, if you think you're better than me, let's go play heads up.
No, but
let's adapt your style. Can you adapt to heads up?
Heads up is definitely different poker than full ring poker.
Right. So maybe you can say you're a really good full ring player, and not a.
How about you're a good heads up player, and not a good full ring player?
Hey, definitely.
And what would you rather be right now with the state of poker and us coming in here every day? Would you rather be the greatest heads up player and a shitty full ring game player, or the other way around?
You know what? You can make money either way. Because if you're a really
good
heads
up, how much no limit heads up there do you have the opportunity to play?
If you're a really good heads up player, you can probably play online and make a lot of money.
Okay.
Right?
How about for us?
For
we
me,
don't play online.
No, I don't. But if I'm saying if I was a phenomenal heads up player, I'd probably play a lot more online.
Like sometimes some of those tournament type things. Although
I also just challenge people online. I'd go, let's play 25, 50 blinds, no limit hold'em, let's go.
I actually played a couple on PokerStars a couple times, and that actually has that set up, like you said when you talked on Friday about the kind of rules that you would have playing Mike, where it's a shootout, the PokerStars thing. But the blinds don't really go up that much.
They start off so small that usually by the time the tournament is over, the heads-up tournament's over,
it might be in 2 level.
100.
Right. So it's really not effective. It's because it's not about stealing blinds at that point, right?
No, it's just about getting a feel for the style of play and basically just outplaying your opponent. I really enjoy heads-up play. I like it a lot. I think it's.
Where do you see the?
It's kind of cool. It's just it's a guy just basically whipping out and throwing it on the table.
I get a question for you guys. The interviews that we've done. And the interviews that we're doing, have they streamed? Or will they stream or still go out? They will go out. Or we'll get Bobby Belland or Jean Robert in here in a second after this guy's done with them.
Well, I want to let our viewers know what our visions for on our website are, because it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Our vision for our website, I remember Evelyn telling me this, that we want to have like a professional, basically player profiles. But unlike any other site you might see where you just kind of click on, you click on Barry Greenstein, the Robin Hood of poker, blah, 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 blah. What we want to do is Barry Greenstein, the Robin Hood of poker, and then we'll have a link to his best live at the bike moment, so you might see a hand that he actually played on Live at the Bike, and there might also be a link to an interview that we had with him in the booth. Same thing with a Tim Fan, where we would have an interview with him in the booth and see him in the game, which is kind of cool, I think. This is one of those things where you can not only learn about the player, see him in the booth, get his advice, and see him at the table, all in one little spot. We're trying to make it obviously an all-inclusive website at some point.
Who's this guy interviewing now?
I don't know.
Is that Gavin? Oh, it's Gavin out there.
Oh, let's put Gavin on.
Well, do we want to bring him on? We're going to see a lot of him over there.
Let's hear what Gavin says.
Edwards.
And Gavin, obviously, Gavin's actually running another great charity. Paul, what's his guy's name? It's Paul Mahome, I think, or Paul Hannum, right? Paul Hannum, a cameraman for WPT, unfortunately passed away, died, had this terrible appendicitis, and passed away. The weirdest thing is we worked with him, and he has he has a fiance with and she's pregnant, so they're actually having a charity event. Gavin Smith is actually inviting everybody down. I think it's Tuesday, August 29th. I want to say, I think it's $1,000 buy-in, and all the proceeds are going to go to the fiance and for the unborn child.
Oh, okay, cool.
Which is really cool. Gavin Smith, it's kind of funny. You look at this guy and you wouldn't think that he's so, he's such a nice guy and everything, but he's such a super guy. He really is.
I love Kev Math. I mean, you talk about you have a crush on Gabe Taylor. I might have a crush on Kev Math. This is Bart and Tuck keep chewing on this guy. When seeing some of Bart and Tuck's interviews, I was thinking they should do some pre-interview type stuff. Then I hear Shriner, and I immediately took back the thought.
I gotta be honest, you know what? I mean, not like Bart and I are perfect, obviously we make a lot of mistakes, but we do very little pre-interview stuff.
Well, yeah.
I don't get Doyle in here or Twan Lee in here and go, okay, Twan, this is what we're going to talk. What's your name? How do I say it? How many? Maybe I ask him one question, like usually, is there anything you don't want me to ask him?
Right.
Is there any subject you want me to leave alone completely?
So is Bobby coming in here or what?
Okay, well, I'm going to go. I'm going to leave you in here alone, buddy.
Well,
you're going to talk to him.
Is he coming in? Bobby?
The Legends of Poker started. 25 minutes in already. And we'll try to keep track of what is going on. You don't even need to go to Card Player today. Don't go to Card Player. You don't need to go to anywhere, really. Poker pages, screw them. Stay on liveatthebike.com, and we will give you updates of what's going on. You know what? I'm actually going to go into the tournament room right now and find out who is the chip leader. Okay? I'll go do it. Updates right here.
Get a half an hour into it, huh?
Before getting there,
well, it's a long haul to get to a final table nowadays. The events we're playing nowadays it's getting harder and harder to get there. I mean, we're playing here at the bike this weekend, and we're probably going to have somewhere between 800 and 1,000 people. And you've got to navigate through a lot of landmines to get there. The main event of the World Series just had almost 9,000 players in it. So
it's doubled from almost last year.
It feels crazy. It's come up 10 times in the last 3 years.
Let's talk about, I know the internet has kind of opened up a Pandora's box on the ability for these young players to learn the game. What are your thoughts on, obviously, I think people have proven that it's not just a game of skill, that there's actually a lot of strategy and tips and stuff involved. How's the internet affecting the game of these young players?
Well, the internet is such a great opportunity. It speeds up your learning curve like tenfold. You can just play so many more hands, you can play multiple games. And what used to take, a guy 2 years to learn, you can go on the internet now and play as many hands in 2 months. So, I mean, it's allowing people to get there a lot quicker and to gain experience a lot quicker than they ever would.
Where do you see the game of poker in the next 5 years worldwide?
I think it's going to continue to get bigger and bigger. I think it's a sport that appeals to everybody just because of the fact that everybody can compete, on an equal playing field and have a shot. I like to play golf. I can never go out and play golf and compete with Tiger Woods, but I can go and compete with Phil Ivey at poker table.
Johnny Chan or Doyle Brunson.
Exactly.
Right.
So I think that's very appealing to everybody to know that they can go and they can play against the greats of the game and have a chance to win.
Kevin, I appreciate your time. Good luck in this tournament. I want to see that bracelet. Thanks, sir. Good job.
Well, that was luck.
That's good.
Good luck.
You guys going to be set up over here for a while?
I'm sorry. I guess we're going to stay here for a little while. Oh, crap. Hey, sometime you got to go in on the floor.
As long as we're here, we're
They
here.
moved us.
Well, I'm probably only here for like 30 minutes. Some of the stuff.
Hey, do me a favor.
I'm sure we'll be here at least.
They started the tournament at 2. Shortly after that, he was going to get him in on the floor. They wanted him in there. So
We can do that now.
will you go find Rod and just to make sure that it's good to go? Because I'd like to do that right now. Let's get him in there.
I'm sure we'll do that. But I'll go.
Before you break down anything, let's make sure she confirms it. Thank you. Let's get whoever needs to escort us, all that kind of stuff.
No, as long as you have to.
That's what I'm saying. I'd like Johnny to know what's going on. I'm not going to go in. They can't.
Won't be in an hour.
I'm not going to go in. I want to stand here just want to follow.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I won't be in there an hour. Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry?
You got my email, right? Let's stay in touch, and as soon as I get back, we're going to chop this up, work on this, and then we'll see what we can do as far
Same thing with 9, okay? It's extended, right? How many you got? What are they? When you split them? 6 to 9. That's the only way you make mistakes. Sometimes you're thinking of something else. That's all. Exactly. Common. Like if I said, split 9s, you're thinking of 9. So you give me the correct answer for 9. That's not a mistake. You got a total of 9. 5 and a 4. Then you want to know when it's up. 3, 2, 6. But when you have 2 9s, you split them. You suck it in.
That's a good play to it.
2. Well, when? When is it? What do you got? It's a good play at the dealership for 2 for 9.
I mean, put the spread though. You got 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
2 through 9.
That's why I'm saying it's a good roll. You got good odds there. You got a lot of cards you can check.
That's why you have to know all these decisions are really hard. They are, but that's hard. That's why you have to play it. They're all. Yeah, you're about half done, man. I think you half the stuff. We're about finished. Yeah. What do you study? Well, I'll go get a list before I leave here and go have a look. While you're having coffee? Oh, yeah. There's a play on the internet. You play for $1 a hand. You have to practice.
That's cool. That's good going.
You don't get.
I'm down to surf practice right now. It's fun.
We got a few minutes to it.
I love the 4 o'clock that leads to the first one. I'm on the East Coast. 4 o'clock is morning. It's like the morning here. They're just watching. They're going to be watching on the first one.
Well, you have to be up, huh? You get up?
I get up at 4.
Yeah, and watch.
5. No, I'm up in the world. That's my day starts.
Time to go to bed.
The idea is we can raise it to 8 o'clock. Lately, I've got so many freeway interviews. I got people on the phone. 11 o'clock at night. So 11 o'clock, I'm for something.
He's the same way, man.
Where's Bobby? You want him? You want Bobby? Always.
Tom Gallagher. Tom, nice to meet you.
Hey, and we're back here. Streaming here live from the Bicycle Casino, day 1 of Legends WPT event. We're here with Jean-Robert Bellant.
Hey, Bart. How you doing,
How's
man?
it going, man? Somewhat of a regular. Has been on the show 5 or 6 times. You're going to be playing tomorrow here, right?
I'm going to be playing tomorrow.
Yeah. You had how would you characterize how you did in the World Series? I mean, you had a few different cashes, right? I know you cashed in the 5,000 event on July 4th. because that was an event I bought in for and didn't play and got blinded off.
Uh-oh.
But how else?
Oh my goodness! How do you do that? Wow,
Yeah,
you must have a lot of money.
Yeah.
No, I didn't hear about that.
No, I don't want to.
I want to hear this. How do you buy in for a 5,000 event and not show up? That's strong.
I asked the lady to buy on Monday. I asked the lady to buy me in for Thursday's Omaha event, and they printed me a ticket out for Tuesday's No Limit event, and I didn't notice it until Tuesday night at 10:30. So I went there and I said, they printed me the wrong ticket. I didn't notice it, and they said, well, your money's already in the prize pool. And I went up to the top. I actually spoke with Jeffrey Pollock and I spoke with those tournament directors, and they didn't do anything for me, but they did something for Negreanu. But I'm over it. So, because remember the 2000 shootout debacle? Did you hear about that?
Right.
I mean,
right.
I guess it's not exactly the same situation.
Well, that was in Daniel's situation. You could say the tournament was at fault.
Yeah.
But they were at fault with you too. They gave you the wrong ticket. Is that right?
Well, yeah, they gave me the wrong ticket, but it was printed out as No Limit Hold'em Tuesday. So it's one of those things where in gambling,
Oh. That's interesting.
It's a customer service.
Anyways,
thing.
now I understand how you can buy into a 5. So it wasn't that you just left your money. It's interesting. One day I was playing the 25,000 event.
Yeah.
And Ted Forrest never showed up for his chips. He had 25,000 the entire day one. He never showed up.
Yeah.
In fact, I was at day 2 in the $25,000 event at the Bellagio, and Ted's chips were there, and we still didn't see him until like 5 minutes into the tournament, and then he showed up. I'm like, Ted, I've never been so happy to have you show up at a table because we were worried about him. I mean, how do you not show up today?
He just had the wrong day?
No, he had such an important business engagement that he decided that he was going to sacrifice day one.
Oh, really?
But he still liked his chances to
what was he
just
down
play
to,
with
like
the remaining chips.
17,000 or something like that?
Man, he was down. Wow, I think it was down to like 13,000.
Yeah.
And did double up. I mean, he was like he was live. Yeah. I busted him.
You busted him. So how many cashes did you have this year?
I had 3 caches.
Yeah.
They were all relatively small caches, but caches are good. But to be honest with you, I bubbled 7 times, and that's an extraordinary amount of bubbling. I am certain that if I really, really wanted to cash, I probably could have cashed maybe in 40, 50% of those.
But you're not looking just to cash, though,
exactly.
Right? Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, I think a lot of inexperienced players or people that are looking for the record, maybe Phil Hellmuth might try and just cash right there, but probably not. Most players, they're going for the win. A cash in an event in the World Series, I mean, you buy in for $1,500, let's say. Cashing, if you barely make the money, you're getting back like $2,600 or $23. I mean, whereas first place is like $700,000 or $500,000.
Well,
I mean, it's just it's not equitable. And there's so many people playing so careful at that bubble area. That's actually a good time to be kind of aggressive. I feel.
Because you think that there's more equity because people just aren't going to be taking risks.
That's right. People aren't taking risks. I'm playing my hands. A lot of people tighten up at that spot. I'm not going to be one of those people that tighten up. I play.
Barry Greenstein was talking about a couple days ago. Somebody emailed him with a question about the structured payout of the main event, and he was saying how absolutely atrocious it was. That it was so top heavy that people might have been playing for 4 days and might have made $10,000 because they finished in 400th place. You know what I mean? Now, I don't know. I mean, how do you feel about it? It's 2 different schools of thoughts. Should tournaments be more flat or should they be top heavy?
Well, I like the fact that they pay out 10%. 10% is pretty much across the board now that they're paying 10% of the field.
Right.
However, does first place really have to be $12 million? I mean, why? I mean, if first place is $6 million, $7 million, $5 million even, and then it trickles on down, And
that makes a big difference because let's say it was $8 million, so that's another $4 million that they could have distributed over. Obviously you're going to get people distributing the top 10, but down the line.
Sure. But I'm just saying, they could have taken first place. They could have given the final table all second place through, and that top 12 million could have been distributed throughout. I don't know. Anyways, there's a lot of things that could be better. The tournament was still fantastic overall, and I'll be playing there next year. I know that.
This is a question that I've asked a couple people who come in here, and I think it's really important here on our home turf here at the Bicycle Casino. Now, you're really a guy that has really benefited from televised poker, that you're now like a known face, and I know you mostly play tournaments, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're normally backed by other people. Is that correct?
I get staked a lot.
You get staked a lot, so the TV, you get recognized. What do you think about this WPT antitrust issue? because I know that Negreanu goes with the theory that these guys don't remember how poker used to be when no one paid attention, that the WPT has done so much for poker that he can't believe that these guys are trying to boycott what basically Steve Lipscomb has done and brought it in poker into the mainstream. I mean, how do you fall on this issue?
You know, to be honest with you, I try not to get too much into the politics of things. You know,
who are you, Huck Seed?
No.
We had an interview. Said the same thing.
It's one of those things where, yeah, you know what? I think it's a little bit shady if the WPT or the World Series of Poker decides to use some of our images to help them market certain products without compensating us. That for sure is, I mean, that should be a no. Somebody told me the other day that they saw my picture on some advertisement for some movie coming out with poker, and I'm interested to say, well, how in the world did I sign some release where I was, can I get compensated for that? It's very frustrating to me that the episode where I took third in that Rio, but basically that was almost my episode because I got so much camera time on that, and made that show. That show ended up being the most popular show of the entire season last year.
That was a circuit event?
It was a circuit event. It wasn't even the first event.
But it was at the Rio.
It was at the Rio,
yeah.
But they made it the season premiere because they loved that show. They changed it from a 1-hour show to a 2-hour show. Basically that was like their ratings show. That was their like big show of the season, and they ran the hell out of it, which I love personally.
Yeah.
But yes, Jen was in there. Jen was in there. Phil Ivey was in it. Tony Ma was. I mean, it was a nice table. Alan. Man, I can't even remember all the guys that were in there, but it was a really cool table. Grant Lang was in there.
Was that the one that you were like, boy, must know what it feels like to be the best poker player on this table or something like that?
Right. I did a little sparring with Jennifer Harmon. That was a lot of fun. But I mean, I was going to tell you about on that event, they actually used me in one of their Milwaukee Best commercials
for the beer.
The beer, where my favorite play of that entire tournament was when I called Gabe Thayer on a bluff.
Yeah.
I mean, I called him with, I don't even know what it was, like ace high or something like that. And they had that, well, should John Robert call or not, whatever.
Right.
But, I mean, it's like they're using our image in that commercial. They could have just said, hey, here's a little something for you guys. I mean, commercial. I mean, people make a lot of money for national commercials.
That's WSOP, though. That's not even WPT, but I know where you're going with that.
What I'm saying is, whether it's WSOP or WPT, if they use our images, just us signing a release shouldn't just entitle them to this blanket and say, hey, you can use it for whatever.
It's funny. Milwaukee's Best, I used to drink that stuff in college. You ever had that swill? Or are you more of the type that drinks like a little cranberry and pineapple with a splash of Malibu?
Oh, my gosh.
You'll never live that down.
I tell you what, it's not going to embarrass me to call me out for drinking Malibu and pineapple or Malibu and cranberry at the poker table because actually, when everybody else is drinking, I'm drinking stuff that's not really affecting me so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that stuff, man, Milwaukee's Best. We used to play that with beer pong, and that's crazy. So, you're going to be coming in here to day 2. Now, I hear there's about 600 players here.
Is that right?
That's a pretty big field for a $10,000 WPT event, isn't
well,
it? Ronnie, people can't hear you. I know.
Right. Well, I think it's closer to 500 this year, but it is a lot of people. Last year, I think they had like 650, but that's because the event was 5,000. They actually doubled the price this year. I was surprised. I kind of liked it. There were 2 events for WPT the whole year. You pay whatever it is, 13 or 15 events. To be honest with you, I play so many WPT events, I don't even know when the season starts and when it ends. It just keeps going all year round. But I kind of liked that this was a 5,000 event. It allowed people to play that couldn't normally play. But I guess the demand was so strong. I mean, they had to build a tent and get extra people in. Today they just split. This time they split into two.
Remember they used to have that tent back out there.
Right.
Now it's just
to me, either way is fine. But any event where you're having 400, 500 people, that's a lot. But you can ask me, is that a lot? Well, you're talking to a guy who just played the World Series of Poker, and I mean, in every tournament there was like 1,000 people.
Well, I mean, I might go so far as to say, and I don't know, you might correct me if I'm wrong, Ronnie, you can correct me, but it said this tournament gets 650. Is this the biggest 10,000 WPT event?
No. Foxwoods.
How much did Foxwoods have?
Foxwoods, I think, did like 650.
Did they? Okay.
And I don't think that. I think that's the biggest.
Yeah.
I mean, for the 25,000 event, they had like 450. Or
Right.
something like that. That's incredible.
Right.
Where did all these people come up with $25,000 a piece?
Right.
You know, I certainly didn't put it up. Would you believe Alan Cunningham actually put up the $2,500 for me to play a one-table satellite? I played the first one, and because it was the first one, you know, all the big names were there: Casey Castle, Phil Hellmuth, the French kid Fabrice Soulier. We were all at that table. It was a fun table, but I took that one down. So Alan Cunningham actually had half of me in that event, and boy, man, I got off to such a good start in that event and ended up losing with 2 jacks against Dave Williams, Queen 10. Of course, I played it badly.
You know, I'm really intrigued about that tournament because, you know, this show is mostly about no-limit cash games. I'm not a huge tournament player. I do play tournaments, but I actually choose to play, like, say, Omaha Low and stuff like that. But I've heard so much about that event that the first day plays like a cash game there because you're so deep.
Well,
and the blinds.
I'll be honest with you. You know, I play almost every tournament, every significant tournament in the United States, and I will tell you that event to me is the most prestigious event because it's all the top players.
Right.
It's all the top players, and you get a lot of chips. There's room to be able to make moves. You know, in the World Series of Poker main event, you know, 10,000 chips, well, it sounds like, you know, a lot, but, you know, somebody makes a move, you make a remove, and that's it. You know, they're going all in until you're really deep stacked, until way after the dinner break. You know, then, you know, things start to balance out and you can be able to do some maneuvers. But you can't really play the full poker when you're short stacked.
Right. And people, you know, because the blinds, like you said, start at, 5,100 or something like that. And there were hour-and-a-half rounds this year, or were they still 2 hours? Didn't Harris reduce them down a little bit this year, the main event?
You know what? I couldn't tell you. I think they did do something like an hour and a half the first day or something, and then it went to 2 hours.
Yeah.
But I will tell you that for me, in the smaller events leading up to the main event, this year I performed so much better than last year. And I'll tell you what I did much better is that I learned to be able to nurse my short stack. You know, this thing of some people, sometimes I say, I did an Alan Kessler today in the tournament, man. That's my way of saying I played with about this many chips all the way and then finally found my opportunity. Alan Kessler's famous for lasting forever. You never want to make a last longer bet with that guy.
What a hairdo guy that guy has.
What's that?
Huh? What a hairdo he has.
Right. But basically, the reason why it's so important to hold on to those chips, a lot of times, you know, you get in there and you say, all right, let's gamble. You know, the price is right. 4 people are in there. All right, let me push it in there. But, you know, you don't really need to do that when you get short stacked in these tournaments because when you get the hand and you push all in, somebody's going to call you because they always think that any ace, they're going to call an all-in short stack because they feel like you're so desperate. So if you happen to catch it, I mean, Nam Lee did it to me. He was short stacked and, you know, he hadn't played a hand. It looked like he was in desperacy mode. Now all of a sudden he pushes all in. And I call him with the ace-7 or whatever, and sure enough, he turns over 2 kings and doubles up. Now you double up, all of a sudden you're a player. You know, so, you know, give yourself that chance. Don't go and get desperate. You know, look at how short you're going. Sure enough, you do need to make a move, but, you know, be real patient when you're short stacked. I did a much better at that this year.
You know, the funniest thing, I think you're a really good tournament player. And I have a question for you because I'll tell you the structure of the Mega. I played the Mega yesterday. Like I said, I'm not a huge no-limit tournament guy, but I wanted to see if I could get in on my home turf. And the structure, I mean, I'll be honest with you, I don't hold any punches here. It was terrible. It was 25-25, 50. It was 25-25, and then the second level was 50-100, and then it won to 100-200, or 25-25, 25-50, 50-100, 100-200, 30-minute levels, and we only got 2,000 in chips.
Right.
So, you know,
it's not equitable the way the structure is going. It's just it doesn't make sense.
I had 1,400 in chips. We started with 2,000. We were in level 4. Right. A guy open raises under the gun. It was a little bit of a fishy raise because I think he made it double the big blind, and I'm on the button with 2 jacks. Can I go? I mean, is that an automatic push? Do I call and see and choose to commit if it's a ragged board? I mean, what would you do in that situation?
One of the things that I teach players is that in situations like that, when you have 2 jacks in that hand, when you have ace king, when you have 2 8s, when you've already decided in your mind that you're going to play that hand,
right,
and you're willing to put your whole stack in, I play it 2 steps. I always want to give my opponent a chance to release his hand. I mean, this is so, if you can understand what I'm trying to tell you
fold
right
equity,
here,
right?
This is so, the fold equity, exactly.
Yeah.
This is so important here. Yes, absolutely, you're going to play the 2 jacks, but you look at his stack and you say, look, I'm going to play my 2 jacks. I only have this one. Now, if I raise all in, he's 100% going to call me. So instead of doing that, I'm going to call, and I don't care what comes on the flop, I'm pushing on the flop. Doesn't matter what comes. If he checks, I'm pushing. If he pushes, I'm pushing. Actually, you know what? If he pushes, you may want to think again. You know, if it's like if you have 2 jacks and it comes ace, king, queen, all hearts, then you might give yourself a little bit of stop ability. But you've already committed to putting your chips in. All you're doing is giving yourself a second chance to maybe take the pot down right there. And I do that with ace, king. I'll do that with a middle pair, 2 jacks. I'm saying, look, John Robert, you're putting the chips in anyways, so forget what comes on the flop, whether it's good for you or not. All I'm doing is I'm trying to give a second chance for my opponent to fold.
What about the fold equity of pushing pre-flop, though? You think it's more important to let him see a flop? Because what if
pushing
he comes
pre-flop, that's what I'm saying. First, before you do that, you want to evaluate, is this guy calling me or not?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times you know that 95%, he's not folding his hand. I mean, what if he just put in a third of his chips and you go all in, yeah, maybe he's going to fold. But if he put in close to half, or if he's kind of a live player, and you can, a lot of times you know this guy's calling. If I push all in, if you think you can get him off the hand, absolutely push right there.
Right.
But if you think you have no chance to get him off the hand, I like to just call there. The only time I really want to put my chips in right there is with aces or kings, because I know that I want him to call there, and I'll play the percentages.
So what you're saying is, if you know he's automatically going to call and there is no fold equity pre-flop, you're going to call just to almost give yourself an escape hatch if the flop comes out like ace,
I can
king,
tell you
queen.
right now, there's people that are watching me online that are cussing me out for giving this information out. I promise you.
Yeah.
That's not stuff that they write about in books, but that is a key thing that good tournament players do. They'll give their opponent a second opportunity to fold their hand.
All right. Well, I mean, absolutely great. You're always a great interview. I really want to thank you for
stopping by. It's my pleasure. I enjoy stopping by. You know, I told them that I'm going to come in here and.
Yeah, you want to do some color. You know, if you're around next week, we've done. You know, we actually have a 3-mic setup here now, and we're doing big no limit games throughout the week. We're doing a 5100 on Monday, so you welcome in here at any time.
Well, shit, I might want to jump in there.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully I can't play the game because I'll be in the tournament.
Yeah.
But if I get knocked out of the tournament, I'd be happy to come by. I heard Barry came by the other day.
Yeah.
Man, that guy, man.
2.5 hours he stayed there.
Listen to everything that guy has to say. It's incredible. I went through archives online to try and listen to stuff he's had to say. That guy's got great information.
Well, Jean-Robert Blanc, I really I wish you luck on Sunday.
You.
And hopefully we won't see you in here until the end of the week.
Yeah,
Maybe
and I promise you, if I get there, I'll come back and give you guys an interview.
All right.
All right, man.
We got him in the game, now we got him playing poker.
If you want to come in and you're blind or whatever.
Yeah, I've been there like 5 minutes.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
Life is good, yeah. Life is always good. I'm all in.
Whenever you guys want to film, we're just doing opening. Are you good now?
Thank you very much. You have to move in the middle.
the game is not going to air just right. It's still going to We are going to go early. We are going to start early.
You want to in or wait?
Sounds good. When time are they going to start? I don't know. Right now I'm just going to round it up and go find out. I like to.
It appears that we're going to have 10, 20 games.
Yes.
And apparently we've got John Fan's game here. John Fan's supposed to play on Saturday night.
How much coming, sir?
Yeah, I got me playing today.
John owes us, and that's why I got it down.
1,004. 1,004.
There it is.
Are you in?
Oh, yeah. Alan, he was kind of like, he was kind of gone for about 2 months. I believe he adopted a child. One child? A girl or a boy? Girl. He adopted a girl. Great. Congratulations. And I think we're going to see again.
All right, for the race.
I wonder, is Mark doing this?
Team member for OU.
Darno, was you ready for this part of the
20.
I guess I'm just going to walk around.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
No, the game's so crazy. You don't find no game better than if I tell you in. I'm not home game. It's the casino, the common. Nowhere is better than California, West Coast. Anyway, all kind of limits. Anytime, 7 days a week, 24/7. What do you have in Florida? Like a great church. Yeah. Only like this is stay so high. That's all I have in Florida. That's what I said.
All right, thank you, sir. It's your question. All right. For a beautiful place.
Who did I miss? Kevin.
Time. What happened?
We're actually not on air yet, guys. I'll let you know. I'll give you a brief before we actually go on air. Got your email. Kevin, what's going to happen is when you play on you get to watch it for free for a week. Take my advice and go watch all last week's. Wednesdays, 5,000 no limit. No.
And we're back here with John Fan. Actually, we have a game going out there, 10-20 no limit right now. We might do some of this game. I don't know, Evelyn can say yes. When Dave comes back, we might start doing a game for about an hour and a half, especially if John's in the game. Now, John, you've been in here once before. Obviously, you're here for Legends, but you're out of L.A., right?
Yeah.
And your start date here is tomorrow. How did you do, say, in the World Series of Poker over the summer? I mean, did you have a...
Actually, I did really good. It's like one of my best series since I stopped playing the World Series. I cast 4 times and I bobbled a lot of time.
Yeah.
Came second in one event. I was like 2,891 player.
Yeah.
So that was really good. And I came 23rd, 25th, and 85. So I think it's like my best World Series.
World Series ever.
Yeah.
Now, you know, one of the episodes that they play the hell out of on ESPN is that stud episode from last year, right? Now, supposedly you hadn't played a lot of stud. Was that one of your first times playing a stud tournament?
No, actually stud is like the first game that I learned how to play when I was younger.
Yeah.
So in Vietnamese, all we played back home, like when I was a little kid, like 6, 7 years old, is Asian stud.
Asian stud.
Yeah. So that's like my first game that's like my best game before, but now there's no limit.
Now, what are the normal? Now you play a lot of tournaments, obviously. Do you pretty much play all the WPT events, or you try to?
Like last year, I don't think anybody played more tournament than I do last year. I play the most tournament.
Now, I asked someone else who I interviewed here earlier today, if you're a tournament player and you don't get sponsorship, okay, and you don't play in ring games well, you're a losing cash game player, can you make it as a professional poker player just off of tournament winnings? Is it possible to beat travel expenses and the VIG on tournaments? Because it's something that we always talk about in the show. Can you just play tournaments and make a living?
Correct, you could.
You can.
There's not that much people can do though, but only for the player that would be really consistent, and you gotta make average at least over $500,000 a year in order to survive.
Because of the buy-ins
Yeah,
and stuff,
because
right?
the buy is so big, and there's tournament after tournament.
Yeah.
And your travel expense like so much. Like East Coast is just ridiculous. Hotel bill is like $300 a day, and plus everything else, expense, food, and
Right.
it's crazy. In Vegas, just like so much.
Now, now you've hopped into a 10-20 no limit game. Is this a little small for you, or what normal ring games do you play in?
I used to play 400-800 mixed game now. That's what I like to play a lot now. But I usually don't play that much cash game like you said, because once you're a tournament player, it's really hard to play cash game.
Yeah.
Because you have to like change your gear like totally different.
Yeah.
And in cash game, I'm so used to rebuying, and then I always think I have money behind me, and that's bad.
So do you play it? Maybe you try to change your style a little bit in cash game, but sometimes it's a little bit hard to adjust.
Plus, tournaments like the challenge so much, and for any one of us to be a pro, and we don't want to get busted out in one hand or making one mistake.
Yeah.
The cash game totally two different game, where we think that we can always rebuy, and that's one bad thing that a lot of top pro has. They always rebuy it, so we're like pretty bad in cash game.
Well, now, I want to thank you for stopping by. The most important question I want to ask you is, I know you're good friends with Liz Lou. Can you put a good word in for me?
Liz Lou.
You guys are just best friends, right?
Yeah, she's like my family and my sister, and she means a lot to me, and we're being good friends for like about 3 years now, and she's too much to live. It's like she's everything for me.
She's everything for you?
Yeah. Nobody understand me or read me like the way she does.
Really? I'm a good guy, though. Just gotta get to know me a little bit better.
Yeah, but you're different. You're not Liz Lou. That's
No, I'm not talking about trying to get to know you that way.
I'm just kidding.
Liz.
I only have one best friend. That's why Liz Lou is my only one best friend, and which were really.
Yeah, she's a hell of a limit hold'em player, isn't she? She plays for some of the biggest games out there, doesn't she?
Yeah, limit for a female. I think she's one of the best limit hold'em players right now.
She was telling me she was playing 800, 1600 at the Bellagio during the World Series.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty big, huh?
She's crazy.
Yeah. Well, John Fan, I really appreciate you stopping by. Good luck tomorrow. Good luck out there. And again, I think we might be doing some commentating on your game, so we might be able to see a little bit how you do in this cash game.
Cool. Hopefully I win some money. I think I lost some last time, so.
You were playing at 300 to 500, I think, the last time you were on the show. So.
Hopefully I try to get some back, but
all right.
Oh well.
Thanks a lot, John. We'll be
problem.
back here in a little bit.
Player strategy.
Live startup. What do
I know it's not gonna work now. I raised only $70 last time. I should raise $200 last time.
5 players, 5.
I played too well to raise $200, but that's only $30 a pot. don't know. Are you? I can't make it too clear. That's my fault. I posted. Let's go. Any way to get there would be cheap. Smart builder. No respect. Just throwing it out there. Yes. It doesn't matter.
4 of you, 4 players.
Hi, Jack. Yeah, go ahead and just get the name. I already have it signed on one. Alright, you gonna tell them that we're gonna start the We are gonna start streaming, guys. What, 5 minutes? 400. Yeah,
Okay, so what kind of price
in about 5 minutes. Okay, I'm gonna tell you a quick couple little things.
307.
That makes a difference.
No. Just fucking say the thing. Have fun.
No. No, we're not gonna go down.
I mean, save it table. Can we put the ball on there?
Okay, everybody, we're going to go on air in about 5 minutes. The only thing we ask is that you put your phones on vibrate. You're okay for a few minutes. What's going to happen is if you do get a call, just step away from the table. It is a 10-minute delay, so don't worry about it. But if we're not going to let you answer the phone at the table. Another thing, as soon as you get your cards, hang on, baby. As soon as you get your cards, place one in the window, place the second one into the window, take a look at them, place them back into the window. Almost like the WPT. You look like you're ready to go. I know. This has been a rough couple of weeks for you guys. Yeah, go ahead and start placing them in the window.
Are you still there?
Most of these guys I've already played here played before. So kind of watch that.
Okay, that's fine. Hey, yeah,
make sure you give Ronnie your name.
Hey, let's go watch the fight tonight.
I act like I, you know.
Hey, no, we're watching my friend's ball, Jimmy's ball.
60.
You got a plan already? Oh, you got a barbecue over there with? You gonna have a barbecue over there with? Oh, okay, cool. Okay, do you want to do coffee?
play.
Okay.
That's what I asked you. Simple question.
Well, 470.
You got like calling my raise on you. Look at this. See you play, right? You have to play bigger, make me play better. See you turn river. Thank you. Oh man.
Thank you, sir.
All right, and we're here. And we are here. And the button here, we're playing 10-20 no limit hold'em. We got John Fan on the table. And we are going to kind of do an abbreviated show here. We might run for about an hour and a half. We're playing 10-20 no limit hold'em. This is the only $1,000 game in the house. Dave will join me shortly here. And we probably might not do chip counts, but we do have names of players and stuff. Again, John Fan sitting over there in seat 2. Always interesting to see him in the game. And looks like he is going to limp in here. And that looks like it's Kunal there in seat number 6. And looks like Kunal made a raise here with Ace Queen offsuit here. He's going to raise it up, looks like maybe to $90. Kunal, a pretty solid player. And seat 1 is going to re-raise. He's woken up with pocket kings. We're going to go blind on the cards here for a while, so I'm just going to lead you through it. Pocket kings re-raise here by seat number 1. Kunal in seat 6 opened with Ace Queen. And it looks like seat number 1 doesn't have much left. There's the Ace Queen there for Kunal, open raised in seat 6. Pocket Kings over here for seat 1. And I don't know, this might be a relatively easy laydown unless Kunal thinks this guy's steaming for some reason because he just doesn't have that much left. But he makes the call. His pot's quickly about $300. King 3-4 here out on the flop. And top set here for seat number 1. He's got Pocket Kings. And it goes check, check. Tries to play a little trap game that turns a 10, and he checks it again. And how about Kunal takes another card here? And Kunal takes a card. Oh, and the river's a 7. That guy just checked those set of kings all the way, and now he bets 300. He let Kunal get a free ride here. And I think Kunal's going to get away from it. And, seat number 1 gave him a free ride, and I think he showed the 2 kings. Wow. Unbelievable stuff here live at the bike. We're playing 10-20. Nope. 458 players, that's it? Yes! I win my prop bet against J.A. Katsutani and Corporation Mike. Somebody told me there were 600 players. Is registration closed now? Ship it. Ship it. 458, baby. Ship it. Mike owes me 100. Katsutani owes me 100.
I actually might play tomorrow, so that's 459.
How are you going to play tomorrow?
I think I might join it. I think I might pay.
Really?
I mean, I think registration's closed, but I'm pretty sure that I can probably finagle it and get Danny or somebody to get me in.
What is this last second thing?
I don't know, man. I want the money. 1.5 million for first place. Maybe I'm due. Maybe this is the one.
Are you serious though? I thought
I'm considering it.
Oh yeah.
Slightly
You're
considering
gonna fork 10,000 down.
Yeah, well, supposedly I was talking to Rick Cloward, and supposedly he thought I should play. So I'm gonna finagle and see if he wants to give me maybe 9,000 of it.
Look at this, King 9 deuce here with a couple of hearts. Big flop here for seat 5. He's got 10 deuce of hearts. He's got a pair and a flush draw. That's Homan. Homan likes to play a lot of cards. John Fan has led out here with King Queen out of seat 2. You can get that flop up there. King
And I
deuce.
believe we got a raise here?
Yep.
A raise from Homan.
Yeah, and he's going to raise here with the flush draw and the pair.
I need it's a phone call, okay? I'm expecting a phone call from somebody very important, and that's not the one. So I have to leave the phone on. I'm
And
sorry.
John has moved him all in, and Homan calls. We have it up as David, but I believe his name is Homan. And look at this, it's 50-50 here.
Yeah, this is pretty much.
And there's the heart.
That's it.
And Homan's going to take it down. Oh, the river's a 4th heart.
Yeah.
Pair and a flush draw there against just top pair. Seat 5 could have caught a deuce or a 10 as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough there with King Queen. Obviously, you've got to realize that your opponent probably has some sort of combination of a flush draw, maybe a gut shot, maybe Jack 10 or Queen Jack or Queen 10 of hearts, something like that. Or in this case, obviously, a pair with a flush draw.
As always, you can email us at liveatthebike.com. You can follow a thread on 2+2. Oh, that's right. Most likely, people that are watching this now, we have actually filmed this maybe a couple weeks before then. But you who are watching this live know who you are. And you can interact with us if you want to.
Right, exactly.
It might only be a couple people because we haven't planned.
And if you're not watching this live, you can still email us.
Yeah, of course.
Because we'll get to it just later on.
Yeah,
we'll get to our email box.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
In fact, we just might not respond that night. We might respond the next night.
Yeah. It's like we did get an email, a couple emails over the weekend for the video blog again. We're going to probably do a new one on Thursday, but I want to keep that up because I believe that we might get Negrano in here tomorrow. And I want to ask him about that. And we kind of, like you said, we kind of did an analysis on that hand, not knowing the players, actually. King Queen suited here. Seat number 4. Getting word that Phil Hellmuth is on the way, Dave. I don't know if he is playing today and making his ceremonial late entrance. He's getting word that he's playing tomorrow. So I'd assume that he's going to be in here with us.
Really?
Today. You don't think so?
You can go in though.
Why? You don't want to?
I talked to him in Vegas. I'm bored of them.
Wow, look at this. Williams got pocket aces here in seat 9.
But Phil Hellmuth will always be a good interview, obviously.
Absolutely.
10-time bracelet
We
winner.
want him in here 100%.
I mean, you can actually say, he might be the most successful Hold'em tournament player of all time.
Absolutely.
Specifically, Hold'em tournament player.
Now, Elliott raised it up here to looks like 100, and Williams got aces, and he is going to raise... He's just going to push it in, Dave. He's going to raise it 600. I think he's going to push it in.
Oh, I know.
800, okay.
Saving himself 200.
I mean, sometimes...
Does anybody think he's pot committed?
Well, sometimes it's tough, though, on the short stack. You wonder if you start with 1,000, is that the right move to push there? Is it was a little bit of overkill.
He said all in.
He said all in. I mean, again, we've seen it so much, Dave, recently in the last couple.
Wow, I think Elliott's
And he called. Well, they're both short. I was going to say, we've seen the overbet work so much recently.
Well, in this case, it's going to work great. Yeah, the overbet, I got to tell you, snapped me off 2 times last night, and I got to tell you, it's really a very...
This is different if Elliott maybe had ace-king suited. Maybe he calls. He's in horrible shape here. He only had king-queen.
And Williams got the ace of clubs. Man, Elliott's in terrible shape.
This is going to be a $2,000 pot. Again, you wonder, like I said, if sometimes you overbet, you confuse people. Remember how Mike confused Jeff with the 7-3 against pocket jacks, and Jeff called with a queen out there.
And
6.
Wow, club
6,
draw?
10, 9. Wow.
Or Jack.
Turns to 3.
Jack obviously would have got it done as well.
Yep.
But not to be.
Remember, Mike had 2 pair, he flopped bottom 2 pair, and Jeff had pocket jacks, and the flop came out queen high. Mike made such a big check raise overbet that got Jeff to call with pocket jacks.
I got to tell you, it happened to me last night. I was playing against Mike. Obviously, I played in the 20-40 Hold'em game last night.
Yeah.
I was doing okay in the 10-20, and I cashed in a little bit, and then I bought in kind of small into the 20-40 game last night because the game was really good. And I was up about 1,000 or so. And I got an interesting hand with Mike, actually, where Mike raised it. Surprise, surprise.
Right.
I called him with Jack 10 suited. Jack 10 of diamonds. A couple of the players called, and the flop came out 8-9 Jack. So I've got top pair with an open-ended straight draw. Plus I had backdoor diamonds. There was one diamond out there, and there were 2 clubs out there. Mike bet, I raised, and Mike immediately moved all in. And I thought about it, and I just thought of all the hands that Mike could do this with, 2 pair, something like that. And I said, you know what? I have to call here. I'm getting almost over 2-1 on my money. I think I have to call and force you a top pair plus an open in the straight draw. Mike made that move with the absolute nuts.
Queen 10 of clubs, right?
Queen 10. The board was Jack 9-8 with 2 clubs.
Yeah.
And I thought maybe Mike would make that move with Ace 10 of clubs, maybe 9-8, 2 pair, something like that. He had Queen 10. He had the nut straight already with the flush redraw. And I was like, wow, that is the only hand I really didn't want to see.
Right.
Even against the set, I'm live. I've got my straight draw, because I'm open-ended.
Right.
But, I got to tell you, I got to hand it to Mike there. Usually he doesn't get the best of me, but last night he did.
Well, because you kind of posed that question to me this afternoon, and I said, well, look, getting 2-1, there's such a range that he might do that with. I think you almost have to call.
Well, that's what I looked at. I said, he could have a pair and a straight draw. He could have 2 pair, a set. He could have an overpair, pocket aces,
He would have
pocket
done it
kings.
with probably Ace Queen of clubs, maybe something like that. The one thing that I think you cut out of his range, because I've played with Mike a lot, is he probably wouldn't do it with aces. He's not as reckless as he used to be. A year and a half ago, he would do it with aces. You know what I mean?
He still might have done that with aces against me because he knows he might have put me on a draw specifically. And the problem is, if he gives me a free card, I might take it because I had position on it.
Wow, look at this. Homan's flopped the flush here. King high flush in seat 5. And he checks it. Doesn't look like anyone really has much here. Was limped around.
But we saw, literally, the over bet, though, where he moved all in on me after I raised him. I was like, wow. I just, I didn't think he'd have the nuts. I'll put it that way.
Wow, this is unbelievable. Sam is going to manage to lose some money here with Jack 6. He played it in mid-position. Jack 6 offsuit. He bets the flop. And let's see how Homan's going to play here.
Well, there's nothing wrong with betting the flop. Obviously, the problem with it is being in the hand in the first place, with Jack 6 offsuit. But if you're going to be in there's nothing wrong with betting this flop. Because remember, it's not a bad bluff hand in the sense that if somebody doesn't have a big hand, they can't really call you. It's tough for anybody to call you here unless they have the ace of clubs, the king of clubs, or some really big hand like obviously Homan has.
Now, do you ever... Again, if I get the king high flush here, obviously, you can have an action killer or a guy could have a nut club. He check raises. Would you ever check call and then lead weak on the turn? Especially if the guy's on a short stack like he is.
You might.
He's basically check raising the guy all in.
Yeah, you might in here, and that's the problem with Jack 6. It's pretty much a no-brainer here to throw this away.
And this guy calls. Ultimate tournament, guys. And he is drawing basically dead to a running full house. Wow.
Well,
and the turn's a third jack.
He can catch a jack, a 4, a 9, or a 6 here.
And Homan moves all in, and a quick call here by Sam, and the river's a 9! Oh,
why couldn't that happen to me last night?
Are you kidding me?
That would have been such a beautiful thing last night. That's pretty much what I needed to happen, by the way, when I had Jack 10 against Queen 10. That would have been absolutely beautiful.
Is just
running
sickening.
Jack and then pair the board.
Yeah.
Mike would have flipped the table over if I beat him that way.
Wow.
I would have laughed.
Man, that is bad.
That would have been so fun.
That is such a bad beat. We see it. We've really seen some really horrid beats here. If anyone watched last night's show...
we see so many hands.
Yeah.
You're going to see a lot of bad beats.
Yeah. Seeing last night's show, what a hand there. We had the biggest pot by far, probably by $10,000 to $15,000. We broke our record last night between Sid and Jeff. And this was not a 5,100 game, remember. It was 2040. It just goes to show you that if you're deep in that game, the blind signs doesn't really matter all that much, right?
Well, no, if you start buying in, last night's game, although it was only 2040, we had over 100,000 on the table. That's a lot of money for that kind of game.
Yeah.
And the money can start adding up really, really quick. $46,000 pot Sid took, and Sid is playing in the tournament today.
Well, he had a nice play. He won about $500,000 in the World Series this year in the main event. Supposedly, he finished like 40th or something like that.
Oh, I know, actually better than that. I thought it was like 24th.
We talked with Gabe about Sid. I don't know if we've seen Sid in the show, maybe once, but I know I've played with him before. And I also talked with Paul, our seasoned turkey, and Paul said, and I respect Paul, he said Sid is a fabulous player. And Gabe also said last night, and I don't think Gabe, shoots compliments lightly, that Sid, there's no reason to think that Sid can't be a very good winning player for a long time.
Yeah, well, Gabe is very well spoken. I like the way that Gabe really didn't he didn't hold anything back.
Right.
If he thought somebody was a donk, he kind of called him that, without saying so much.
The funny thing, we also asked him about Mike, and he said, Mike could be a good player if he just was more disciplined.
More discipline. And obviously, you got to learn how to change gears once in a while, so the players don't always know what you have. Now, I'll hand it to Mike, though. Obviously, I'm going to get back to the hand last night because some people, not even because it's my hand, but that's the one thing with Mike is if he flops the nuts and he plays it hard, if you have a good second best hand, it's almost impossible to get away from it. Now I know one time you got in a hand with him when you flopped trips, and he flopped the bigger trips also, but with a bigger kicker.
Yeah.
And there's really no way for you to get away from it. I think it was trip 10s, right? And there's just, against Mike, sorry, you know what? You got a big second best hand. You're going to pay Mike off.
Yeah. Sam is going to bet here on an ace. He limped in with ace-6 of clubs. It's funny. There was another interesting hand team that I talked to you about yesterday that I played with Mo in the 10-20 game, where I had 7-10 offsuit with the 7 of diamonds. The flop came 9-8-6 with 2 diamonds. I was in position. Mo check-raised me. I bet about 100. It was limped around. He check-raised me to 300. I moved in for about 4,000 right away because it was Mo.
Right.
And he thought for a couple minutes and then called with 7-10 of clubs. And I asked you, do you make that call against me with 7-10 of clubs? I did it against Mo because I thought Mo would call me with the set because he never thinks anyone would play it so hard.
Exactly. That's the thing. I mean, you're playing the player.
Yeah.
Would I call you? I mean, it'd be an interesting hand. I'm not sure if I would call you or not.
Yeah, yeah.
It's tough for me to lay down the nuts, though.
Right.
It's just really tough for me to lay down the nuts.
It's almost screaming like...
Now, because there are other hands you could have that you could do that with against me. Against me, there are other hands you could do that. You could have top set and not want me to draw.
Yeah.
You could try to put pressure on me, thinking, well, if I move in with top set, Dave might even lay down 7-5, which is the second nut straight.
Right, right.
You know what I mean? Maybe I'd even lay down 10-7 if I didn't have diamonds in my hand.
Right, right.
There are hands like that.
Because it was funny, we talked about that one time on the show about would you ever fold the nuts on the flop in Hold'em, because a lot of people, in Omaha, you do it, but...
Yeah, if you really, really know the player you're playing against, but I got to tell you, it's tough. If I have the nuts, man, I mean, I got to know you're making that move there. But, the funny thing is, I got to start thinking, why would you make that big bet there?
Yeah.
Would you think I would call you? What do you know what I mean? Now, against Mo, he's going to call you with any decent
Do you think Mo
hand.
would call with the set there if I did that?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So you think it was a good play by me?
It's not a bad play at all.
You might have done the same thing?
You got all the money in and you're free rolling.
Yeah.
You got all the money in. He actually said, you want to just chop the pot? And you said, wait a second, I have a diamond.
Yeah.
I'm completely free rolling on you. Now, obviously, I mean, I think it's going to get chopped up like 96% of the time, and you're going to win it maybe 4% of the time. But hey, 4% over a lifetime adds up to a lot of money.
Kevin is raised here with 8-5, and Sam has called with King 10, and Sam's open-ended here. Now, Kevin's got the best hand, but Sam's got overs and a straight draw.
Yeah, I want to say Sam's probably a favorite right now.
And he goes check.
And he is.
Kevin does not bet on the 5. The turn's a 6.
Sam's no longer a favorite, by the way.
Well, if you're going to raise with 8-5, I'm surprised you don't bet that flop. Well, now he's going to bet.
Especially in position.
I got involved. I said I had a horrible afternoon. I got involved in the hand where I raised with 8-5. And Sam is going to check raise him here. It seems like this guy breathes tournament play.
Well, the one thing with this play is now, it's one of those always things going, Sam is trying to read Kevin saying, would you check the flop if you had anything? I don't think you have anything, so I'm going to check raise you. But then you got to realize...
moves all in. Kevin moves all in here.
Well, this is the thing. Now, you're making that move because you think that guy is weak. But remember, you've checked twice too now.
Yeah.
So what do you think the other guy thinks? Would you check a king twice and now check raise all in?
Oh, you just tell me what to adjust.
And now it's just really a math question here.
Well, the pot right now is going to be $400 check raise plus maybe another $200. It's $1,000 plus whatever he has left here.
Now, if you don't put this guy on a... well, the real question is, what do you put Kevin on? The problem is, remember, he raised it, then he checked it, now he's moving all in. Would you put him on like a set of jacks? Set of queens? And wow, and he folds, and the river was a 9, and he would have got there.
I got in trouble, Dave, against a solid player when I raised with 8-5 offsuit on the button. I was attacking this guy's blind. He hadn't played a hand in hours. This was an Asian guy that was a really good player. And he called in the big blind, and it really immediately set alarms off in my head. I thought he had really a big pair.
Right.
And the flop came 8-8-7. And you know me, he checked me. I'm 100% going to bet that because I want him to have aces or kings.
And you want to check raise you.
He check called me. The turn was a 10. And then he check raised me on the turn, and I just really wasn't that deep where I think I could get away from it because he made it 500 more. I only had 1,500 total left.
Did you think that maybe he could be doing that with aces?
Absolutely,
or kings?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
See, that's the problem. It's always one of those times you go, well, you got to be able to get away from trips, or you got to be able to get away from a straight or a straight draw.
When you're not that deep, though, it's just.
And it's also a question of how many hands you put your opponent on. If you start thinking, well, you could have one of these 5 hands, 3 of which I can beat, 2 of which I can't beat, then you start looking at it going, well, man. Plus, there's also a chance that I can improve my hand. Yeah. How can I lay this down?
Now, the funny thing is that he hit his set on the turn, but if he's a really solid player and say the turn's an offsuit deuce, now William is just limped in here with pocket kings. Would he continue to check call me with pocket tens? You never know.
Yeah, you really don't know, obviously. I mean, it's one of those things where he might have check folded the turn if he's really tight and solid.
And William does not pull the limp re-raise here with kings. Somebody raised it. Oh, he is going to pull it.
Yeah, it looks like
he has announced raise.
Looks like he's getting about $700 or $800 there.
Yep.
It's at least 6.
And I believe that John Fan raised it up over there in seat 2. There we go. Williams raising it.
800. Jesus.
Getting word that tournament is on break.
Yeah, first 90 minutes gone, and I'm sure we already have more than a few casualties. I knew. I told you it was the under 500. I knew it was going to be under 500. And then
someone said it was 600 already. I think Ronnie came in and said there's 650 here.
I basically formed all those bets for you, didn't I?
Oh yeah. So what, do you want a cut of it or something?
I just didn't pull the trigger and actually say, okay, I'll take the bet.
Wow, and John Fan is going to call here with ace-8. I was asking him when he was in here, Dave. I kind of almost asked him. I didn't say in so many words, are you live in a cash game? But he kind of smiled at me and said, yeah, sometimes I have trouble adjusting to a cash game. And it looks like I'd like him in this game calling a limp $800 limp re-raise with ace-8 of diamonds.
And the funny thing is you can make the excuse of you can say, well, this guy, he's just here to screw around. The money doesn't mean that much to him. Well, I don't care if the money doesn't mean anything because I'll take his $800.
Right.
I'll take his $1,000.
Remember, he was screwing around in a 3-5 game. This now, we're talking, he's going to screw around and drop $5,000-$10,000?
I don't think he has that much here.
And this guy moves in.
Well, he moves all in, and I don't think. I mean, how much money does John have left, though? See him come up $5,000 chips there?
Oh, he's got a $5,000 chip, so he's deep, Dave.
And he's rebuying?
It looks like the pot was 1,000. This guy is moving.
No, you know what he's going to do? He's going to put 800 in there, and he's going to fold, so he can keep the chips. Pretty sure, almost 100%. Actually, I guarantee it.
Oh, because he put a big chip up to make the call to the limp re-raise.
Exactly,
Right?
but now he wants to keep his chips, so he's going to put the 800 in there and just then take the money and throw his hand away.
The only problem is the cash doesn't play on the table here because it's a jackpot game, so it gets confusing. That money is going to have to get changed up anyways for chips.
I got to tell you, I don't understand that rule at all.
Yeah,
I think the bike needs to change that.
Yeah.
I got to tell you,
it's kind of stupid.
Make it easy for it, especially when you want. If you want big cash games, you got to allow cash on the table.
I don't like you going.
Players like to play with cash.
I think you have 2 queens. That's it.
And he puts them on 2 queens. Well, John, you can't beat 2 queens.
I don't know. I haven't already.
I didn't call you that.
That's big money, yeah.
Again, the pot was 1,000, Dave. It looks like he's bet 1,300 into it. And you talk about, is there a point to betting half the pot when you only have 650 left?
I just want to make the pot easier, that's why.
I don't know. I'm throwing that out.
If you want to call, it might be. If you want to induce a call here.
Well, again, we see it more and more in the show. I almost like the overbet. If you and Fan is going to call anyways.
Well, he stuck 1,500.
He makes the call. Oh, I see. No. Those are the white chips that he put in there. The problem here is John can't beat Ace King. But say John had pocket 9s, and William makes this overbet. Does he think that he has Ace King?
Come on. William already did this once. He had aces. The worst hand he could possibly have is queens. There's no way. There's just no way. Look at this guy. Do you think he's putting the money in without the nuts? Hate to judge a book by its cover, but that's pretty obvious. Come on. How he makes money, it's ridiculous. Guy's just giving him gifts.
I also asked John if it's possible to play tournaments for a living, not be a winning cash game player, and not have endorsements. And he said it was very, very difficult because you would basically need to make $500,000 a year to break even. And I can believe it with tournament entry fees and expenses.
The World Series alone, I told you, Dan Heimiller is down $250,000 in the last 2 years from the World Series. And he's cashed like 6 times, 7 times. He's down $250,000.
Yeah.
And you got to start thinking of expenses too. Remember, okay, so I can play a few tournaments in the LA area, but then I've got to go to Vegas, and I got to go to Tunica. Maybe I want to go to Atlantic City. Maybe I want to go to Aruba, Paris. If you do not have endorsements, if you do not have a sponsor, I would imagine it is close to impossible to make it. It's like a struggling golfer, you know what I mean? Try looking at like the 300th best golfer on the tour. How's he doing? You know, guy on like the Nike tour trying to make it.
Right, and then he doesn't have sponsorship either.
He doesn't have sponsorship. Yeah, he's got to pay his way to the
Right.
next place. You know, keep paying his way to
Wasn't
travel from golf tournament to golf tournament. And you know, if a good week is like, if he makes 6,000, it's like, oh right, I can let you know what I mean. But if he doesn't go on, if he doesn't make any money, you know, he's got to just keep beating the path.
Dr. Allen is raised here to 100 with 5-6 of clubs, and Williams got pocket jacks here in the big blind.
I mean, the crazy thing too is if you actually think about how many poker players are out there when you compare it to like how many tennis players are out there or how many golfers are out there, because I'm trying to talk about like individual sports. I mean, you really think about it, how many tennis players in the world do you think actually make a living?
Right.
A real living.
A lot less than poker players and golfers too.
Right, and if you look at poker players, you go, God, there's probably what? 50,000, 100,000, 200,000 serious poker players in the world?
Yeah, but I mean...
What percentage of those actually make it?
People that actually... I mean, there might be 10,000 people that make a good living in poker in this country.
I don't even think there's that many.
But I do consider you and I to be one of them.
Oh, no,
living.
I thought you meant tournaments.
No, I'm talking about just a living.
Right, I'm talking about tournaments, though. The tournament circuit.
How about anything? Say, I play poker for a living, I make a healthy living, I make over 100,000
I don't know
net.
that. I don't want to start there, because I have no... With the internet, it's so hard to figure it out.
Oh, that's right, the internet. Yeah, it's
But
tough.
when you talk about tournament play, though, what are there, maybe 100?
Oh,
100 players?
So, yeah.
You realize how small that is in the scheme of things? You're talking about less than 1% of tournament players.
So you're
really
saying
make
that probably there's less people that just play poker tournaments than, say, at golf or tennis that make it. Or it's comparable. Now,
well, I think there's the same amount of people, but there are more people you're competing with.
Now, William has got an overpair. How does he play? He did just smooth call in the blind. And he's going to lead out. I don't mind the play here at 9-5-9. The only problem is that you're out of position here. There's 3 people. Obviously, can someone have a 9? If you get smooth called here... Like, what if you were to lead at this flop, Dave, 9-5-9, and Dr. Allen smooth called you on the button? He was the pre-flop raiser. Would you think that you were beat?
No, I'd probably lead one more time.
Yeah.
I'd want to see. Because he might have smooth called me the 9, he might smooth call me the 5.
He was the pre-flop raiser. I mean, would you think he has an overpair? And Dr. Allen smooth calls here with a 5.
I'd probably lead out one more time, because remember, he could have 8s or 7s as well.
Look at that. The turn's an ace.
Yeah, I don't put him on an ace, though. Remember, he smooth called me. Is he going to call me with ace, jack, or ace, queen? I'm going to put him on 7s, 8s. Could have 6s. He could have queens or kings, but he might raise to see where you're at. I'd probably put one more bet out there to see where I'm at. I can't just immediately give his credit for a 9. And, of course, now that Williams shows a little weakness and checks it to him, he is going to Dr. Allen call bets.
You're right. That ace doesn't make a whole lot of sense there on the turn.
Yeah, unless Dr. Allen's taking one off with ace king.
Dr. Allen bets. William calls the pot. It's almost $1,000. The river's a 7.
Now that card actually scares me more, because if you start thinking of the pocket pairs that Dr. Allen is trying to represent, might he have 7s?
Now this is interesting. The guy is checked to him. Dr. Allen can't think his hand is good here in a showdown, does he? And he looks like he's going to fire one more time.
How do you bet this, though? Because, isn't it really easy for your opponent to have, 9-8, 9-6? I hate trying to bluff somebody when they might have trips.
He's going to bet 500 here.
9's good. You got 8 only. You got 9? 5 no good. You got what?
There it is. Jacks are good.
Yeah, and Dr. Allen,
$2,000 pot there, Dave.
Dr. Allen there, he hasn't played poker in quite a while. He was out of the country, actually. Recently adopted a baby girl with his wife. Congratulations to him. Yep. And sometimes it takes you a couple of weeks to get back in the swing of things. I think that bet on the... I don't mind the bet on the turn necessarily, because you get a free showdown that way with the 5. But the bet on the river, I think, was a little bit ill-fated.
You lie down on the floor, right? You're so excited.
Ronnie's saying that he has experience with William, and the guy calls a lot.
Yeah,
so.
William?
Yeah.
William!
I lay down waiting in.
Button moves over here to seat 9.
Apparently Ronnie and William are good friends. Ronnie's telling them they're ex-lovers.
Well, if anybody is watching this live, and most of the people are going to be watching this sometime in the near future, and hopefully we'll have that Bobby Belland interview up on the website at the time that you watch. He's a great interview, man.
This is great. So apparently we have the the daily report written by our own Potato.
Frankie Odell won.
Jay
We interviewed him in Vegas. He played on the show in Vegas.
Frankie Odell is the legend. He actually won the $10,000 seed, and then the $2,500 donation went to our own Ronnie McMillan with a couple other people. They chopped it up, and I'm going to read this little thing here. I'm going to just look through and see what we got. Media winner Ronnie McMillan found himself short-stacked midway into the final table, but picked his spots with exact precision to outlast the other 4 media participants. Ronnie is donating the $2,500 to the Tracy McCulloch Foundation for kidney recipients. This was suggested by 7th place finisher Charla Lehrman. Ronnie, a local pro player, also doubles as production assistant, a.k.a. Cardboy, at Live at the Bike, a live streaming webcast of cash poker games. Ronnie, a former film editor, combines his editing talent and poker skills to assist in the production of Live at the Bike.
Can you scoot aside so I can get down there?
There we go, that's great.
Well, Kunala's raised it with 7-4 offsuit here in seat 6. And the button's going to call with Jack 10.
Yeah? No, if I'm in there, I got shot.
I don't know, honey. Red light on
Apparently, Ronnie McMillan went all in and got knocked out with King 5. Now, remember though, once it was kind of weird, the media event. It was almost like 2 tournaments in one, because whoever was the last living legend basically got $10,000 seat, and whoever was the last person to survive as a media player got the $2,500 plus the $2,500 for charity. So basically, it was here. Jeff Clayton got eliminated in 6th place, and then Ronnie Cardboy McMillan was the lone media entry left against 4 other legend winners. Then Ronnie wins his $25 donation to the charity of his choice, plus the money.
Look at this. David/Homan has limp re-raised here with ace deuce.
John calls.
And John called with 8-5 suited, and John breaks him. I really thought that guy's name was Homan, but we've changed it back to David.
He might have 2 or 3 names.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, so here he goes. So the very next hand, Ronnie McMillan obviously has nothing more to play for. He's already won basically his side of the tournament. He can't win the $10,000 seat. So he ends up calling Frank Odell, initials raise. Hey, he calls basically with King 5, basically dumping up his chips. Did Frankie give you anything for that? I mean, I think Frankie should probably give you 5% or 10% of his action in the Legends.
Chips, please. Any chips? Solid incoming, sit fine.
And apparently Frankie Odell criticized Ronnie. Now, the funny thing is, Ronnie had already won his side of the tournament. Was Ronnie supposed to sit there and do nothing? And apparently Ronnie should have just folded regardless.
I tell Sam already.
Oh, I see. Apparently he wanted him to fold regardless because he was playing for a seat and Ronnie had nothing to play for. I got to tell you, I want a guy calling me with King 5 offsuit.
Dave, we got a really interesting email because we were wondering if anyone was watching last night here from John Bisback saying that he was watching the show after we went off the air with the stream and he heard you and Alan comment on that hand with the where there was a little bit of confusion, seat 4 and Jeff, some sort of inducing, showing a card to induce some sort of action, right? Yeah.
Did you want me to go through that again?
We'll get to it in a second here because
Okay.
we got Ace King here over here for William in seat 9. I'll read the email here from John.
Make it 800. That's a good
number. And William's going to raise it up here to 100.
Cheap raise this time. What are you on the draw?
Going to make it 100 to go here.
I can't get a bad beat. I feel bad.
When you unfold, I'm happy.
I'm supposed to call.
Thank you for helping.
Apparently,
Johnny from Card Players in the booth.
This is, I got to tell you, this is one of the... If your name is Johnny Walker, how cool is that? That's a great friggin' name. That is a great name. Are you a Scotch drinker? Yeah, you know what? One experience can do it for you. Apparently, I had a bad experience with Scotch. You know, I had a bad experience with vodka in college, but vodka is one of those things, though. You can't really avoid that your whole life. So I had to like reintroduce myself to my friends. Yeah, well, Scotch you can kind of stay away from a little bit. That's a great name, though, Johnny Walker. That's such a cool name. What's your middle name? See, I got to tell you, if I'm first of all, I would if my last name was Walker, I'm definitely gonna name my kid Johnny. Okay.
No, it's me. No, it's me.
But do you want to name? I mean, you got what? If you have a kid, will you name your kid Johnny?
Wow, the river here is an ace.
Okay.
Unbelievable.
Middle name? Black? Red? Blue?
Oh, that's sick.
Come on, you got it, Johnny Blue Walker.
You win.
Johnny Blue.
Dave, no one can hear.
Great
Dave,
nickname.
no one can hear. Anyone can hear Johnny. That's where we're trying to get him. Like,
No, I
you're asking
I
these
understand.
questions.
I understand. Well, obviously, I'm asking the questions and I'm giving the answers back. I think people can infer what I'm asking him and what he's saying.
Okay, I couldn't. That
really?
was the thing. Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
Anyway, I'm trying to get his name. Oh, I got a phone call from Isaac.
You know why? We are the same culture.
Hello, Isaac. What can I do for you?
When you
Isaac? Isaac just called me.
Oh man, we're having fun here. Buttons at C2. It's Saturday afternoon.
Put more out so I can.
Yeah, John the fan, the donator, exactly. We like to call him in the cash games at least.
Make sure you guys
Yeah, he's probably down, what, a couple thousand already, John?
Yeah, probably something like that.
Yeah. That's a cool name, though, Johnny Blue. Oh, man. That's great.
If I have a son, I will name my kid Johnny Walker, for sure.
How
can you not?
It's such a cool name.
Well, you know,
I mean, that's one thing I've always been kind of upset about, because, I mean, David Tuckman, I'm sorry, that's just kind of lame.
Yeah.
It just doesn't do anything for me, and my middle name is Mark, David Mark Tuckman. What's your middle name, Bart?
I don't have a middle name.
Bart, you don't have a middle name.
How do you not have a middle name?
I don't have a middle name.
Were you adopted?
Yeah.
Are you Amish? How do you not have a middle name? You don't have a middle name either,
I don't
Carl?
get this.
I thought everybody has a middle
I thought
name.
you had to almost have a middle name.
I always thought so. What is your middle name again?
Robert.
Johnny Robert. Well, yeah, see,
Yeah.
I can't believe your parents didn't jump on that.
They're not drinkers. Is the funniest thing. Neither of them drink.
So there was no meaning behind the Johnny with the Walker.
No, and in fact, it was John until I got to college and jumped in the fraternity, and they wouldn't have anything of it. You had to be
Cool.
Johnny Walker.
Well, come on.
Exactly. And then I got into sales, and it's if you have a name that you can remember, all
It's great.
better.
Nice to meet you. I'm Johnny Walker.
Exactly.
I will never forget that.
It's hard to introduce yourself to women though that don't know you because that's obviously they are a little taken back by that. They think that you're.
And you know what though?
Give
The
them a
right
line.
women might like it. You know how some girls they kind of like the bad boy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think they really like the bad boy, and it's kind of like if you tell them your name is Johnny Walker, like some girls might actually be intrigued by that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And look at this. John has continued with his lag play. He's going to raise it on the button here with 6-4 offsuit. And David's going to defend his straddle with Queen 8 here.
Go get him, man. I was actually dating a chick
4-6 off.
who liked me to pour Johnny Walker on her.
King 3-10
Keep
here with
telling
a
me the
couple
story.
diamonds.
That is pretty much where it was. I mean, she liked me to pour alcohol on her body. So, I mean, that's the kind of girl you got to meet.
Yeah.
Are you married?
No.
Single?
Well, dating, but single,
Dating?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, hey, if you
I'm not pot committed.
there you go, not pot. You get out. I like that, not pot committed. That's a great poker term for.
Well, I use a lot of poker analogy in life. I think you're going all in. There's lots of things.
That's good. I know. That's great.
With
But
a 4-6 off, he scoops the pot. Huh?
Yeah, you need to find a chick though that is really into pouring, like alcohol on them.
Yeah.
I tell you, I think this girl was an alcoholic, but it was a fun couple of months. I must say.
I bet it was.
It was a fun couple of months.
Never a dull moment, right?
Yeah, no, definitely not a dull moment. So, what are you doing exactly here at the car at Live the Bike during Legends?
I'm the VP of casino marketing, so what we do is I'll go out and try to negotiate with the marketing people, i.e. Kelly, and working with Live at the Bike and with you guys to find better ways to expose your brand and the casino and better expose card player to the world.
That's great.
With poker exploding like it is right now, it's really important that people know if you like poker, you'll love card player.
Right, and it's kind of a cross promotional thing. It's funny. I became good friends with Scott Huff last year.
Okay.
During the Legends media event, actually.
Right.
And we kind of been doing over the last year. We've been on the circuit now twice. And Scott Huff's been on the show a couple of times.
Right, I heard that.
And we kind of go back and forth, and it's kind of cool because there's a little cross-promotional thing. Actually, I'm a big, big fan of the circuit. And don't forget to call Donkline. They are here right now, by the way.
They are.
And actually, we're going to do a...
Tuesday,
you guys should promote... You got
Tuesday
it.
is the big day. That's a big, big day. It's a
Live at the Bike versus the circuit.
Live at the Bike versus the circuit. Let's find out what happens. Double shootout.
Double shootout, so it's going to be me versus Joe, then me versus Gavin, and then Bart versus Joe and Bart versus Gavin?
I believe so.
Okay. That'll be good.
We'll get confirmation.
And I think if it's a tie, for some reason, like I win one and Bart wins one, I would like Scott Huff to have to play Isaac.
Well, I'm not going to play. I gave Bart,
as a tiebreaker.
Bart had me in the media event, by the way. He flopped a set of 4s, was it?
Oh, that was you?
That was me. Yeah, exactly. See? You care to commentate
Look
on that
how
one?
bitter he is. I mean, it's a media event. You don't even win anything. I'm still bitter.
I had aces, and he flopped a set of 4s and slow played it perfectly until I turned an ace.
Well, I mean, I check raised the flop all in. I mean, it was pretty standard for a short stack tournament play.
Yeah, but I got to tell you, in a media event, there's no way I'm throwing away aces.
Yeah.
No. Sorry. Exactly. Sorry, Bart. You got it, man. I'm sorry. The flop comes out Queen 8-4. You got a set of 4s, dude?
Yeah.
Here you go. Here's my media money.
Get an email here from George saying, guys, get Gavin on mic. Ask him about Joe Seabach playing the chimp match for charity that they talked about in the circuit and see if you can get that done. When you play your live at the bike gets crushed by the circuit match. I mean, is there any love?
Wow.
Sorry I like you guys, but Gavin is a guy I just love to watch play poker. Well, I love to watch Gavin play poker.
Yeah, you can
too,
watch him
but-
lose.
Yeah.
You can enjoy it. I got to tell you, though, we have nothing to lose in this match because you realize.
Well, when it's a game of information, and if you have someone watching here in the back,
but
you might have an
besides that,
but besides that, you have to understand though the thing that's kind of cool is these. Most of the people that watch our show have a lot of respect for our play. At least I assume that because they're watching us.
Right.
But as far as the poker world goes, most of the known poker world doesn't know who the hell. They don't know who the hell David Tuckman and Bart Hansen are. But everybody knows who Gavin Smith and Joe Seabach are. So if David Tuckman and Bart Hansen beat Joe Seabach and Gavin Smith,
Yep.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it might be a little embarrassing, and they will never live it down. And I'm really looking forward to that match. See, what's really be funny is if we get out there and Isaac, our director, wipes the table with Scott Huff. Which is, I'm really expecting that, by the way.
So you really think you're going to felt one of these guys, huh?
Well, I'm assuming we're playing in a freeze-out style.
Yes.
Clearly, I'm anticipating me winning both of my matches, and Bart will probably win one of his, and we'll win 3-1.
3-1.
3-1. One of the guys will get lucky against Bart. Bart will probably have his money in with the best of it. They'll get lucky.
You've heard it here first. All right.
Checked around here on the flop.
Oh, is there a game going on?
Yeah, that's why I threw my hands up, because if we're using this for content, we probably should try to follow the game, but as always, you were ignoring me.
Bart's like my dad, I swear to God.
Johnny, it was a pleasure for having you stopping by.
Thank you very much, guys.
Yeah, it's awesome,
Appreciate
man.
it.
Johnny Walker.
Yeah.
And if you meet a kid like, let's say 25 years from now or so,
right?
And you're at a school or something and you're like, I don't know, you're hanging out with him and he does something bad and his name is Johnny Blue.
Johnny Blue.
Johnny Blue Walker. Just be easy on him.
Call the principal.
Exactly.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks a lot, buddy.
Thanks a lot. Checked around once again in a big fashion, a bang. And seat 2, John is going to bet a 7 here.
Kev Matt says, speaking of charity, has Tuck had any further contact with Phil Gordon? Once again, I emailed him, and he has not returned my email. I'm going to have Jay Siegel, our potato. He seems to have some relationship with him, and I'm going to let Jay try to facilitate something with Phil for me.
And David called there with a pair of 7s. And it looks like that kicker's going to play. Yeah, the two guys that are kind of watching the show here, Tressel says, the phone is supposed to be on vibrate. Come on, guys. It's Saturday, so can we get a subpar show with the John Fan Free Roll sponsored by Johnny Walker? The guy's name's Johnny Walker. Okay.
I think that's so cool. I'm sorry. I think that's so cool. I'm sorry. If your name was Johnny Walker, you'd be all over it too, okay? Unfortunately, your name is Bart Hansen.
With no middle name.
I know. What the hell is that all about? No middle name? Seriously, the only people that do not have middle names are either people that were adopted or Amish.
Oh, come on.
Pretty much.
Garo said he didn't have a middle name.
Garo was adopted.
Right. He was adopted.
You didn't know that?
Putt moves here to seat 5. We're playing 10.
Either that or Isaac, is Garo Amish? Oh, there you go.
10-20 no limit hold'em. Brown chips are $10 chips. Whites are hundreds. And the button has moved here to seat 5. Again, John Fan is in the game over here in seat 2. 9 deuce offsuit fold, and here we go. David's going to raise with ace-9 here on the button.
David, don't call me Homan.
Yeah. Well, Sam's got 8-10 of diamonds here. He's played a lot of hands so far. How much did David make it? 400?
You know, the funny thing is, what are these guys here for, though? You're saying they're tournament players, but what are they in town for? Are they playing tomorrow, you assume? And they're just here, like, did they register for the tournament, I guess?
No, they might
and they're
not
playing
be,
tomorrow?
No, you know, maybe they played in the smaller events and they tried to get into satellites and they're not here.
Right. Or, like you said, I mean, I know players had to register today, even if they were playing tomorrow.
And Sam made the call heads up for $400.
Oh, now he's got top pair, though.
8-6-4 here on the flop. This probably is $800.
And he's betting 2?
It's actually a $400 pot. He bets 200. And David's totally missed. Totally missed here.
That's not going to stop him, though.
He's almost like Alan. Sometimes
he throws it away.
Yeah, he's out of there. He is out of there. So
take it down, Sam. Why wouldn't you check raise there?
I wanted to read this email here by John George is saying, "Hello, I happened to tune in for a little bit to the live game that streamed after Friday's show and happened to catch the confrontation between Jonas and Tom during the hand between seat 4, Tom and Jeff. Tom showed his hand to Jeff prematurely to get him to fold his hand when they were all still vying for the pot when seat 4 was all in already. What I was wondering was, man, look at that seat number, that's Dr. Allen there. What I was wondering was, if Jeff ended up showing pocket paint or king queen, and if you happen to catch it, what it was that seat 4 had in his hand.
Yeah, I didn't know what seat 4 had. Seat 4 was Patrick, and Patrick was kind of moving around. But obviously you can see why it's unfair. Now, heads up play in a cash game. Tournaments, you're not allowed to reveal your cards. But when you are heads up in a cash game, you can show your cards to either get a read on a player, to try to induce or reduce action. You are allowed to do that. But when you are 3 or 4 handed, you are not allowed to do that because obviously there's somebody else in the pot that you are affecting. Now, theoretically, let's just say Patrick had a straight draw, okay? Seat number 5 had top pair. Well, if you're Patrick, you want the other guy in there because you want more money in the pot because you have to make your hand anyway. So by seat number 5, basically inducing seat number 6 to fold could be costing Patrick money in seat 4, which is unfair. So Jonas had a gripe and a proper gripe there.
Ace-king here for David in seat 5.
Kevin with the old ace-10 suited.
And look at this. Williams got pocket queens. Is he going to pull a limp re-raise like he has again here? He's under the gun. And he limps, Dave.
Yep.
And I got to tell you, I know David pretty well. I think that Kevin might raise here. David might push, and Williams going to call. And if Kevin just limps, David's going to raise, Williams going to push, and David's going to call. So all the money's going in here. Yeah, just a limp and a limp.
And Evelyn missed one of the most impressive interviews we ever had here. We had Johnny Walker in the booth. How cool is that? I love that name.
All the money's going in here.
I almost want to change my last name just to that.
David has raised it up here, and let's see if William pulls the limp re-raise again. How much money has he made on these limp re-raises? He's in good shape. One of the kings are dead. One of the aces is dead.
Is this my water?
No. It's $80 to call here. Now, he did just smooth call with jacks earlier. And let's see. He's really trying to figure out what he's going to do here.
Well, he's going to call.
Just a call there with queens.
Well, that's actually seat 3. That's Kevin with ace-10 of spades.
Yeah, but just a call by seat 9 with queens.
Right. But David, I have a feeling David's going to push here, isn't he?
Yeah,
no. He was the original raiser. No.
Yeah, he was the original raiser. Nobody re-raised him.
Well,
7-6-5 with a couple clubs.
That can be somewhat of a scary flop there for queens, can it?
Now remember, William led out with jacks, but this time he's going to check it.
Now this is one of the hardest things to do, I got to tell you. When you have queens or kings or aces in this spot, now, wow, David is going to move all in. He's got the ace of clubs. One of the toughest spots here, if you're William, and I've been facing it a lot lately, where people are almost over-betting the pot here, and it's like, okay, how much information do you get here? Does the guy have a straight? Does he have 2 pair? Does he have a flush draw? Does he have jacks? Does he have 10s? You don't really get that much information. It really, really puts you in a tough spot unless you know your opponent really well, don't you think?
Absolutely.
I mean, queen's here. What do? You got 2 players behind you still to act.
Well, he's going to call.
You know what I mean? I mean, it's just such a tough
Turns to
spot.
3, rivers a 9, and he's going to win it there with queens. We actually saw a similar hand last night, Dave, where Mo had jacks, queens, and kings.
Yeah.
Towards the end of last night in a hand.
Yeah. I had a hand last night as well where I had raised with 2 red kings, and the flop came out 8-7 deuce with 2 diamonds. And I bet the pot, and 2 players had called me, and I came out leading out the pot, and a player moved all in right afterwards. Just popped it. I'm going, dude, 8-7 deuce with 2 diamonds. I'm thinking to myself, okay, do you have a flush draw? Do you have a straight draw? Do you have 2 pair? Do you have a set? I don't really know. I mean, and I didn't know the opponent that well, and it kind of threw me off. I ended up calling him. He had a set of 8s. I look like a jackass, like I usually do.
Looks like Scott Huff is entering the booth.
Yes. Scott Huff. He's no Johnny Walker, but hey.
Do we want his kind on here? Say a couple words?
Sure. Let's
His
get Scott in
kind.
here. Let's get Scott in here.
Now, do you want to take the mic, Dave? We're going to do the switcheroo, traditional switcheroo, or
really?
Or are we going to do what we had Johnny Walker do?
Jade or something? Come on, give me it.
I don't know. We'll do whatever you guys want to do. Yeah, we're just going to keep it the way it's going.
Okay. But you can give Scott these headphones, though, so he can hear.
And we are going to get none other than Scott Huff from the circuit.
Yeah.
And once again, if you want to call, by the way, the circuit is here all week long. So if you want to call the Donk line, call them at 877-675-1306 for your questions for Scott, Joe Seabach, and Gavin Smith. Once again, that's 877-675-1306.
And look at this. John Fan is coming in for a raise in early position with good old Queen 4 offsuit. Pretty typical.
Yeah, very, very typical there.
Kunal is called. And it looks like Alan's going to come in with ace-jack.
What was that? What kind of expression was that? Can we get a shot of that, Isaac, when he does that again? Did you catch that? I'm sorry, that was one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
7-7-4 here on the flop.
Bart's sitting here like, hey.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, what are you doing, man? Yeah.
I was trying to tell Scott
Nice
to
visual.
keep the mic as close to his mouth
Yeah, I know.
as possible.
It looked like something else, okay?
Can people see this mic that I have?
If you come in a little closer, they can.
Because I want to know what you want to bid on this lovely dinette set.
There you
back
go.
here.
Yeah. There you go. There's the mic.
The Bob Barker mic. Just wanted to let everyone know.
None other than Scott up there.
Wow, look at this. Kunal's going to take one off. John bets with Queen 4, and Kunal calls with Ace Queen. Now, if he catches a Queen, though, it's good, because there's a pair on board here. The turn's at 3. John bet the flop. This pot is quickly $600 here.
John Fan, master of poker.
Well, master of cash game poker here, it looks like.
He's
Good old
taking
Queen
some money
4.
off me.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, in a cash game. The 1-2 at the Mirage started playing much bigger when John sat down. And,
I bet.
He actually bragged about it for a long time that he took about $400 off me in the 1-2 game.
Well, he's going to continue to bet here. And remember, Kunal just took one off here with overcards.
So, Scott, I'm only curious now. Are you guys on yet, the circuit? Or when's the first episode of the circuit?
First episode will be tonight.
Tonight, okay. So what time?
7 o'clock.
So 7 o'clock, people can start calling the Donk line?
Yes, they can start calling the Donk line.
You know, it's interesting. We were talking, Scott, out there that, at the bike here, and it seems like in California, they don't give dinner breaks for the tournament. So what are you planning on doing for the show tonight?
This is a fact. We are going to be, as we usually do with the circuit, we're always looking for our guests right up to the last minute because these guys are hard to schedule in advance. So basically, it'll be business as usual. We always make it come together.
Yeah.
We've yet to have a complete
Someone's
disaster.
gonna get
Although maybe it's
knocked
tonight.
out.
Maybe we should root for the first complete disaster to be tonight. But hopefully, we'll be able
Have
to
you
get
ever had
somebody.
anybody on the circuit 3 times?
3 times. 3-time guests include the Grinder.
Oh, really?
And that's probably all I can think of. The first 3 times.
Because we're here, Scott, but I don't know if people.
Well,
actually
we're gonna
wanna
do.
hear us
You guys will be
freaking-
on this week. You have
Oh,
to be.
really?
When
For sure,
is
absolutely?
When are Gavin and Joe playing in the main event?
Tomorrow.
So what are you going to do tomorrow for a show?
Tomorrow we're doing we already have our guest actually. See, this is something we have in advance. Tomorrow's guest is first of all, we're going to do it at 1 o'clock. To answer your question, and tomorrow's guest will be Chip Jet.
Oh, that's great.
So he's going to be on the show.
But
So 1 o'clock tomorrow.
But you might be doing it solo, though, right?
No, we're going to do it at 1 o'clock. It starts at 2.
Oh, you're
So
not doing it at night. You're going to do it in the afternoon.
Exactly. We're going to
Okay.
do it before play begins each day, and we're going to see if we can sucker somebody into coming here early enough. And
That's
you
cool.
know,
So-
1 o'clock's not bad. That's the one good thing
No,
we
that's
have going for us is they should be able to show up by 1.
I mean, poker players, you can't get them before noon, but 1.
Exactly.
So, once again, circuit tonight, 7 p.m., tomorrow, 1 p.m., Chip Jet tomorrow night. Tonight could be their first big disaster, and they say you haven't arrived until you have a first disaster, so check it out tonight.
Now,
wait for the train wreck.
Sam raised here on the button with ace-3 offsuit, Jack deuce deuce here. Now Kunal has a dry flush draw, very low flush draw with the paired board. This is just a check and fold here. Sam's going to make the continuation bet here with ace-3. John even can't continue on that flop.
Yeah, we had the biggest pot in the history of Live at the Bike last night, $46,000. Are you familiar with, what's the guy's name? Sid, what's his last name?
And look at this, Kunal is going to check raise here.
Do you listen to anything I
I'm
say?
trying to
Ever?
follow the game.
Is Kunal a regular?
Kunal is a regular, yeah. Kunal's a pretty good player, actually. He's pretty solid. Bart's he's had it with me today.
That's it?
Well, you know what it is. We work Monday through Friday together. I really need Saturday and Sunday off. We need Saturday and Sunday away from each other.
But now,
We don't get it. It's clear.
They want me to hop back into the frame here.
Oh,
We're
okay.
gonna be one really happy family right
And
now.
Kunal
Very
made the
cozy.
check raise and he took it down. Well,
Okay.
I'll give you the inside track here. You know, we're planning on using this game for some content later on. So if we're going to use the game, we might as well follow the game like we normally do on a normal episode. And,
Are you guys bickering on the air?
We bring people in, you know, to kind of add color to the game. But he's kind of treating it like, it's just a Saturday, just a little additional thing.
This is pretty much like every show. We have an informal talk radio show. It's not really a formal thing.
We don't air our bickering on the circuit.
Yeah.
We actually end up editing that out. Gavin and Joe can get at it.
Do
pretty
they really?
good with
Do they
it.
bicker?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. There's been nights where they actually drop the headphones off and then just walk out of. They walked out of the Fontana Lounge a couple times during the World Series. Joe just went, you know what? And he took his headphones off, dropped them, and walked out into the casino.
Oh, that's classic.
Oh yeah, it's good.
Joe told us we had on Wednesday night we had a huge game, 5,100 blinds, and Barry came in the booth.
Yeah.
And he did commentary for like 3 hours, and Joe was actually playing in the Limit Hold'em event, and he would pop in here every couple of minutes during breaks and bicker with his dad, which is kind of funny. But he actually did say that he needed a break from Gavin. He was like, yeah, we needed a break.
We all need a break from each other. The World Series is the most unbelievable grind ever.
Yeah.
Even if you're not playing.
Bart and I aren't really like that. We're actually pretty good. I just like to kind of give him crap.
Well, I imagine Seabach did pop into the booth a couple times.
He did.
He loves the attention. He does love the attention of the cameras being on him. So he came in, bickered with his dad. Was he even invited in here, or did he just come in on his own?
No, he just came in.
He pretty much came in.
He just showed up.
But he's always welcome.
Well, that's fine. But if you tell him he's always welcome, he's gonna,
Pop it all the time.
Exactly. Better be careful about that. It's one of those open invitations that perhaps you can never take back.
Right. I was having a lot of fun. I was actually doing a little, we were walking around. You saw Isaac and I walking around with the camera. I was just looking for every hot chick. Like, hey, can I interview you?
That's probably tough in a casino.
Hey, can I interview you?
But you know what? During the World Poker Tour? Oh, shut up. Jesus. He's making fun of, I met this, I've been hanging out with these English people, and he's making fun of me because I've, had this, English inflection.
So what did you do that was English right there?
I don't know. He's just... What did I say?
You raise your, the last word. You raise it up an octave.
Ray does it so much better than you, though. Anyway, though, but during the World Poker Tour events or during the World Series, when you get the reporters are here and stuff, and you get the World Poker Tour girls, you can find a couple of hot chicks. It's that one card player girl. What's her name? Kelly Garner.
Yeah,
She's
we're
kinda
going down
cute.
a road I can't go down. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not allowed to talk about. My girlfriend doesn't even know what Live at the Bike is, and she refers to you as guy with wife. I don't know why. That's just her. That's the name. She doesn't really remember people's names too well.
Right.
So going down this road, she could have just found out. Something buzzed in her ear, and she was like, "Wait, www live at the bike. Yeah, I got to go to that and
Right,
make sure
exactly.
that I'm not saying someone's hot." Or
I got
attractive.
you. I got you. I mean,
I'm
you
gonna
do
have to
know.
opt out of this conversation.
I mean, even though if you're when you're on a diet, you can still look at the food.
Yeah, well,
Or not.
not if the diet is like a living, breathing thing, though, that can come after you.
Fair enough, man. I won't even go there.
Food and lodgings.
Right.
Kevin limp re-raised here, and then he bet the flop, and Elliot called the $300 limp re-raise with King Jack suited. Kevin made a continuation bet. Elliot's moved all in here, Dave, and Kevin is going to get about 11 to 1. The pot's about $1,100, maybe 200 to call.
Well, if
Well,
you're getting
actually, maybe not. Maybe about 6.5 to 1. There.
Well, if you think the guy's got a king, though, I mean, you only got 3 outs here. You really have no redraw whatsoever. I mean,
how about calling 30% of your stack to a limp re-raise with King Jack suited?
We've been watching that all day. I mean, it's unreal. Hey, now during the World Series, obviously you are you are media more than poker player. We meet a lot of people that are poker players
Says
first
you.
and then media.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, look, we got Phil Hellmuth.
Scott, we're gonna
kick you out, buddy.
Yeah,
Oh, that's it.
I'm sorry, man.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, man.
And
we're going to trump you out here.
I believe this is your microphone I've been holding for you.
Yeah. I think we're going to pull the switcheroo here.
We'll get plenty of Scott.
Scott, we're going to have you, obviously on for the rest of the week.
Yeah, we got Scott Huff here all week long. We'll definitely get him on the show again.
Yeah.
Scott Huff, one of my favorite guys. Check him out at the Donk Line, 877-675-1306. They got a show tonight at 7 p.m. Tomorrow night, Chip Jet at 1 p.m. Oh, we're on. There we go. There's Scott. Cool. Once again, 877-675-1306. One of you guys should email or actually call in and ask Gavin and Joe about their bickering. That would be really cool.
I think we're going to pull the switcheroo here like we normally do. No? Okay. Well, Phil is going to join us on the left-hand side. Hopefully
Yeah,
we
I'm
can
gonna slide back here so we can
Okay.
actually get Phil in the shot.
That's
Well,
what I'm saying.
I'm actually in a tournament right now. I don't know if you can tell.
Are you playing?
Yeah, I'm playing right now.
Oh,
so
we got word it was yesterday. All right, Phil. Well, we want to thank you very, very much for coming here. It's the first time with Live at the Bike. Now, you made your ceremonial, 2-hour late entry here in
if anyone can really see what's going on. There you go.
There we go.
There we go. This is a great setup. You had
very professional here.
You had a limo called for you, and you came in, about 2.5 hours late?
Well, yeah, the limo was supposed to arrive at 3:10, and I was at the Lowe's Hotel. Actually, as of I just got up at like 1:30. I hadn't decided whether I was going to play today or tomorrow. Usually you have some choice, for like all those years.
Yeah.
You just drew a ticket, and that's when you played. But these days you have a little bit more choice whether you want to play day 1 or day 2. So.
Especially if your name's Phil Hellmuth.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think that's pretty standard. I think
Right.
I think for 10 years everybody else would choose their day, and I just randomly draw. But I think it's pretty normal with 2 days that the players. Anyway, so at 1:30 I decided to play, and so I called over here and had a limo pick me up at 3:10. I know the tournament started at 2, so.
Where are you staying, at the Viceroy or something like that?
It's 4:15 almost. I'm staying at the Lowe's Hotel.
I was going to say, I mean, you're playing today, right now. You're, theoretically being blinded off.
Not theoretically, I am being blinded.
Actually, yeah. Well, you know the structure here. I'm looking at the structure. It's pretty quick here. I want to say they're probably they're at 75-150 right now.
How many chips did we start with?
20,000.
Oh, that's not so bad then.
I wanted to ask you one thing that specifically pertains to this show. Obviously, you've heard of the show. I don't know if you've ever watched it. This is a no-limit cash game. We had on the show a couple of days ago Jeff Cabanillas. Cabanillas. And he was the guy that took you out heads up in, what was it, the 5,000 event.
I remember.
He looked like he was
nice,
a pretty...
Thanks. That was the one that stopped him from getting the 11th this year. Not good memory there.
He looked like he was the pretty solid cash game player on here. A lot of people I've heard say that he's a player. Tell us a little bit about that in the limited time you have, what you thought of him, and how that heads-up match went on.
I thought he played really well. He was reckless the day before, and he was all in with the worst hand several times. One time, Vinny Vin raced it up with jacks. He moved all in with ace-10 offsuit, and then I had ace-king of spades, and I moved all in. And Vinny Vin studied forever and mucked the jacks, and it came, it ended up like queen, 8-8 deuce. The river gave him a split. At least he didn't suck out on me. But he's gone if I decide to play the ace-king differently. I could have. There's an argument for laying the hand down there.
Yeah.
And that's one time, and then early at the final table, he moved in with like a king-10 offsuit, and I called him with ace-queen suited in the big blind. He was very reckless in situations you didn't have to be reckless, like 9 and 8-handed. But then when he got to short-handed, that recklessness and aggressiveness turned out to be really a good thing. He played me really well heads up. He played really well 3-handed. And, he had a couple of breaks to make it that far. But then he gave me a really good game. In fact, I never had him all in.
Really?
Heads up.
Now, again, we concentrate basically on no-limit cash games here, and we're wondering if you're still around, and by some unfortunate reason you get busted out, would you possibly play there? And I want to put you on the spot, but how much experience do you play in no-limit cash games?
Well, I was considered in 1998 one of the best no-limit cash game players in the world. I would sit down at a game at the World Series of Poker, and everybody would quit. They gave me a reputation as a bad side game player for other games. But I used to sit down with Johnny Chan. I used to sit down with the best no-limit hold'em players in the world, and I beat them almost every single time in the cash games. And then in about 99, 98, the games became very small. You'd only see a no-limit cash game once in a while. Mm-hmm. And with the resurgence of it, I've been very lucky the last 2 or 3 years. I've had, only 2 or 3 losing trips in the side games. But I've been playing triple draw, and I enjoy that game a little bit more, And so, if I just haven't been as motivated to play hold'em, and maybe it's silly, maybe it's a little bit more boring for me. I feel like I've mastered it, or come as close to anyone to ever mastering that game. So, a game like this has no interest to me at all. Now, if the blinds were high, I don't know what the blinds are.
Well, this is 10-20 uncapped, but on Monday night we are doing a $50, $100 blind game.
It's still a little
uncapped.
small. Like a 2 and 400 blind no limit game might be something that would be fun, where I can buy in 20,000 at a time. Mm-hmm. That might be fun for me, but I'm not.
Well, we did have people buying. We had about $230,000 on the table.
Okay, that's
50,
fine.
100.
I understand, but I'm just saying from my point of view, it's not quite as
right.
Bart's trying to sell it, though, man. He's trying to sell it. He's working it.
He's still trying to sell it, and I'm just not in it. But it's all right.
He's going to be he's going to be in the Legends tournament. He's going to have 150,000 in chips.
If we had the game, and I haven't been enthused by the Game Show Network, but if this no limit cash game were not high stakes yet, if it weren't on the Game Show Network, I would show up and play. If we were on ESPN, I would show up and play every session.
Right.
I would come in and I would play 8-hour days or 12-hour days every day.
Right.
And I could kind of show the world, you know, I mean, there are rumors that I'm not that good in the cash games, despite me winning every single trip except for 2 or 3. All these years, it makes me laugh. But I mean, I'm kind of.
I just find it so interesting that you hold yourself at a level where you have a very good opinion of yourself in the cash games, where it seems like there are some other pros that say, "Oh, he's a real live one," and I just don't know why there's such a huge discrepancy there. You know
well,
what I mean?
you can read into whatever you want to read into it. I don't mind, but I mean, I've published in my blog. I've had 3 losing trips in like 2.5 years in the side games.
Well, you know, it's funny. Obviously, depending on who you talk to, you can say, "Oh, this guy's a live one," and then you talk to somebody else, and he's good. And nobody really knows except the person who keeps the records.
Exactly right. I mean, I might play one day and be on tilt, and I lost 100,000 playing No Limit in one night like 3 weeks ago, and that night I tilted off the last like 35,000.
Right, and the 9 guys you played with.
Right, and the people in that game say, "Oh, Phil sucks." I mean, I did have aces beat by 7-4. You know, Aaron got in there and called like, you know, a huge re-raise with the 7-4 suited. But nonetheless, I mean, you know, I still tilted off maybe the last 35,000. So those people that night will say Phil's pretty live. In the 1,500 and 3,000 game that I kept beating during the series, they'll say, "Wow, Phil played great."
Right, exactly.
You know,
it's all
and the
perception.
5 and 10 game that I beat for 25,000 one night, they'll say, "Oh, Phil played great." So it's just a matter of when you catch someone playing poker. You know what I mean? And so, I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, I'm publishing my results for this year. Mike Matisso's so confident that I'm bad in the side games, he's booked me for the year.
Really?
I was going to say, what do you
Yeah.
think? That was my next question. How is Matisow in the side games? Because
And
he's
I'm
really
only-
your biggest critic.
And I'm only up maybe 230,000 for the year, but you know, only 80 of that counts from poker.
I got to tell you,
so losing that 100 that no limit game, I was up 185,000, right? And I was punishing Matisow, and now I'm up like 80.
Because I got to
so
tell you,
I'm really pissed off about that. But
in high stakes, I didn't see people paying you to stay on the table like they paid Matisow to stay on the table, so he could lose another 100,000.
Honestly, I mean, I've only met Matisow once. A couple of times, obviously, we see him. But based on who he is and how he plays, I got to imagine he couldn't hold your jockstrap.
Mike Matisow is the best Omaha 8 or better side game player in the world, and so he's the best. And anybody that wants to dispute that can just come and play him. I mean, but he's been very reckless on the internet.
Okay.
And so, you know.
But as for Hold'em,
he's not the best. But in Omaha 8 or better, I'm just trying to find a positive there.
Yeah.
He's great,
Right.
and he has a lot of skill in no limit Hold'em as well. So. I mean, I don't have anything negative to say about him at all. He is going to end up. I think I'm up about 80,000 for the year, and we capped it at 400. So I'm happy if by the end of the year I'm 300 winner in the side games.
Okay.
And then he's going to have to pay me 300,000. So I'm sick that I lost 101 night when he was booking me. You know, and that same night I won 101,000 playing Chinese poker in Bobby's room, and then I went to the no limit game and lost 100. So I was really pissed off but at least I left 1,000 ahead, and except that Mike didn't book me during the Chinese and did book me in the no limit, and it made me sick because when a guy is booking you for the year and you're up 185 and the max you can win is 400, I should just play conservatively, play 400, 800 where the games are kind of good, and chop it up to about 300 or so. I don't have time to win the full 400, but maybe that'll happen anyway.
Well, I know you got to get back to the tournament. Thanks a lot for stopping by.
Have a good one,
Phil.
guys.
It's great to finally
Thanks a lot, Phil.
meet you and
All
come
right.
in here.
And for the record, I didn't play very good in the high stakes cash game either. I mean, I made some mistakes, and I assumed that Barry Greenstein, who's the fastest player in the world in the tournaments, was going to be playing fast, and Daniel I assumed was playing fast, and he did. And so anyway, I didn't play my best game there, and you know, and so I want to see the high stakes cash game get put on ESPN and come and show the world what I can do.
hey, Phil, can you sign out? This is kind of our wall of fame.
Great. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot, and good
Guys,
luck
good
to you.
luck.
Go
Good
get
luck,
it.
everybody out there.
There he is.
There he is.
Phil
Phil
Hellmuth,
Hellmuth, great interview.
10-time bracelet winner. He has the most bracelets, tied with Johnny Chan and Doyle Brunson in the history of the World Series of Poker, and I believe the most cashes. And I got to imagine with his play, he will probably have the record before long.
I just really find, and I didn't mean it, I don't know if the question came off wrong, but I really think that, you know, you have to play well with confidence in poker. He has a lot of confidence in his ring game ability, where there are a lot of people who say, oh, he's shitty. But I don't know who's right.
But that means nothing.
Yeah,
though.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Bart, you can probably find 20 people out in the casino that think I'm shitty.
Right.
I can probably find 10 people that think you're shitty.
But because
who cares?
But because he's such a high-profile player, it's just come to become, oh, these guys say that Phil Hellmuth is live in the cash games, therefore it's true.
Right.
I mean,
So
if you were to go on, say, to 2+2 and say, oh, how is Phil Hellmuth in the cash games? 95% of people say he's live, he's great for the game.
Yeah,
but I don't necessarily know if
But 95%
that's...
of the people say that. But how many of those 95% of people that say that? How many people actually play with him
Right,
day
no.
in and day out?
I just, a guy with it's almost like a rumor that just spawned on and on and on. And I'd love to see him playing cash games.
Right.
I mean,
I'll put it this way: you could probably talk to a dozen people and find that Mo is live.
Right.
Some people think Mike is live.
Right.
Okay. Some people think Mike is great. Some people think Mo's great.
Right.
It's all perception.
Wow.
It really is. Phil Hellmuth, 10-time bracelet winner. Oh, shoot! I forgot to get him to sign my hat.
We got a big.
But we'll do it later on.
And are we going to finish up the day here? I think that we're going. Are we going to wrap it up here for the day?
I think we're going to wrap it up.
Well, thanks a lot. We got about an hour of content in there and a little bit in the game. We had some people come through. We will be back for people that want to watch live tomorrow at some point. I will let Kevmath know or somebody know, and we're going to be streaming. And we might actually be doing more interviews today as well, but for right now, we're going to end this game.
And those interviews will go on later on the show. But apparently tomorrow we might get Negreanu and some other big names that are showing up tomorrow.
Yep.
So
that's going to do it for us, and you can stick around and see the rest of us, some interviews, and maybe see Negreanu tomorrow. So good day, everyone. Live at the bike.